you were bent down and the back of your shirt just had that disembodied eyeball floating, and it looked like there was just a 2D eyeball floating in the background.
I was just like, oh shit. Is the cap card plugged in and it's not?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not using the cap card today.
No, but like if I play.
Oh, the sound. Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Hope you're having a beautiful time zone wherever thou may art. I art. Not full of Caesar salad. I ate what I could. My stomach's been fucking with me ever since I ate 30 gallons of soup last night for dinner. We don't have to talk about it. But, I wish I could say that things are better since the last stream.
How we feeling out there tonight? Yeah, I am not feeling good.
But I'm still fucking dead inside. And, thank you, baby. Upset and heated and upset that, like, bitch, I don't want to be talking about this. I don't want to have to be talking about this. But I have to. I don't have a choice because I can't sleep otherwise. Yeah, it's a Plinko game, so if you give bits or sub or follow, it will shoot a little Plinko coin. It'll go over and then down, and it may or may not make it into the little basket there, so just something cute and sweet and dainty and fun. It kind of does look like it's hanging on the wall, which is funny, but it's not. I can't express to you how exhausting it is to exist in a world where you have to beg people to give a fuck. Because yeah, Buttsbot, you're on thin ice, motherfucker. Listen, we're gonna be talking about some shit that you, thank you, baby, don't need to be privy to. So, as per fucking usual, I've been in the trenches all fucking day long with these people, right? And I shouldn't have to be, but alas. You know, we ended last stream. Would you haven't watched it, watch it on the VOD on YouTube, potatum with the number 8. That's where all my stream VODs live now. But I ended that VOD sort of being like, well, you know, voting Democrat ad nauseum forever and fucking ever is not going to do anything. Because that's not the reality of US politics. Because with the exception of 45, which was one term, for my entire life, there have been 2-term presidents. Clinton, Democrat, 2 terms. Then it flipped over to Bush, Republican, 2 terms. Then it flipped over to Obama, Democrat, 2 terms. Then, of course, it flipped over to Dunkerton McSquisher Dick, and he was 1 term. And then, of course, now we've got Joe Vibin, which is, he's not. I don't vibe with that motherfucker. He passes no vibe checks in 0 realities. So, to come to the conclusion that the only way for change to occur is to keep doing the same thing is irrelevant from the jump, is not viable from the jump, because that's not how change happens. We've talked about that already on here, right? So then the question becomes, well, then what are the other options? in a big behemoth machine that is fueled by truly tens of billions of dollars at this point, as far as campaign efforts and networking efforts and propaganda efforts. How do we rally against that? How are we supposed to dismantle that? And this might serve as a gotcha to some of these blue-colored foaming at the mouth Democrats. But I don't have every single fucking answer. I know. Don't shit your pants on me now. But I have ideas, opinions, stances, values derived from my decades of lived experience at this point, which are valid. And looking within the realm and purview of bipartisan politics in 2023 is not an option for me anymore. It simply is not. For reasons that I have listed, oh my God, millions of fucking times. Please go watch my VODs. I'm not going to rehash every single thing here in case you're new here. But, I've been doing some digging and some research and whatnot. And like I said in my last fucking TikTok, unless I take a shit that I think is better suited for the role, you know, not saying this candidate is shit, but I'm saying what we have right now is shit. I have found someone who I have more faith in than our other fucking options, right? And it's actually really eye-opening to see all of these protests happening around the world and boycotts in this own country that are affecting stocks of humongous companies, which is fantastic. Keep it the fuck up. That are rallying for Palestinian liberation and for a ceasefire. And on both sides of the aisle, even in this country, in America, people are overwhelmingly in favor of it. I mean, you know, fuck the fucking red hat Republicans. They will vote against their best interests gladly and proudly and openly until they die. Like, they're past saving, right? I'm not talking about them. They're the fucking outliers. They're bloodthirsty fucking freaks, right? But for most of the, you know, rest of the rational thinking population, realizing that collective punishment is an actual war crime and eradicating an entire civilian population and over close to 1,000 bloodlines at this point. Like 2 weeks ago, the number was at 881, and I can't imagine it's gotten any lower since then. Bloodlines of families that are no longer walking this earth. Both sides of the aisle are overwhelmingly in support of a ceasefire. But not our president. Not our president. The way that he was asked, like on the street, like in passing by someone, mic in hand, you know, what do you have to say? Like, are you going to call for a ceasefire? Like, what's the possibility you'll ever call for a ceasefire? And he said, none. No possibility. That's almost verbatim. That is verbatim what he said. As a supposed blue wave Democrat with, checks notes, empathy, how does that not make your blood run cold? How does it not itch your craw? How does it not make your stomach hurt? So, just because this is what the conversation is lending itself to, I'm first going to break down a fucking conversation I've been having today as just an example of this bullshit, and then we'll talk about the candidate that I'm endorsing, and we'll go over her policies and her programs, and I'll leave you to the same conclusion. But I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you right now, if you're fed the fuck up with red and blue, D and R, donkey and elephant, or whatever, and you genuinely fuck with me, or generally, I mean, fuck with me and vibe with me and and can agree to a point on what I say about things such as the endless pitfalls of capitalism and whatnot, and police reform and whatnot, then you'll want to stick around to see who I'm talking about. Of course, I'm talking about Claudia de la Cruz, if you've been keeping up on Twitter or TikTok today, but we'll go into that a little further. I'll go ahead. Y'all can be browsing this while I talk about this, and you can even follow along while I read it later, but here's her website. I pinned it in the chat. VoteSocialist2024.com. So, I was actually thinking of this too earlier. You said I just registered what you said. Yeah, I'm quick with it tonight, bitch. I'm not wasting any time. But you can't see my space buns. That makes me sad. Well, they're floppy anyway.
You could zoom out. I think I had my shit zoomed in.
I did. I zoomed out all the way.
Oh.
I was thinking, you know, about 2016 and how Bernie Sanders was like, he was everywhere, dude, right? He was everywhere. He was like the socialist candidate, like the third party candidate. You know, he's been in politics for years and years and years, was a prolific protester on the front lines back in the day. Of course, I don't fucking vibe with him now, but like back then, I really thought that he had a chance. And so did a lot of people. Of course, notoriously, that ended up not happening. And that was super... 2016, that whole election cycle, that whole period of time, from election day 2016 specifically until like inauguration and beyond, I was in full grieving. I spent a lot of days in bed. I spent a lot of days crying. I spent a lot of days terrified for what this might mean for us, or what this will mean for us as a country and as a world. Because I'm not naive enough to say that American politics only affect Americans. We've got our hand in every fucking pie all over the world, notoriously, right? We can't keep our mouth shut. We can't mind our business. We can't leave people the fuck alone. That's the American legacy, right? But the one unifying factor back then that sort of was the wind in the sails of the Bernie Sanders campaign was, please, not Trump. Please, not Trump. Of course, now we lovingly refer to that as orange guy bad, right? Orange man bad. We know, girl. He sucks. OutLoud.com/orange man. Don't go to that. I don't know if it's real. Yeah. Sucksoutloud.com. I don't want to visit. No, don't visit that website. I do not endorse that. But anyway. So Bernie lost. Hillary lost. She won the popular vote, but lost the election. While I'm at it, fuck the Electoral College. Antiquated, should be outdated, should be done with, dealt with. Goodbye. There are 350 million American people in America that live here. American and otherwise, I should say, obviously. People living on U.S. soil, right? Yeah. Well, no. Not all 350 million of us can vote. But there's 350 million of us. At any rate, I fucking lost what I was saying. Yeah, the Electoral College was established back when there was, I don't know, a couple million of us. You know what I mean? Like, what year did... Let's see. I'm just curious for my own autistic ass. What year did Earth's population reach 1 billion? Earth's population, mind you. 1804. Which is bonkers. And it took 123 years before the population reached 2 billion in 1927. But then it only took 33 years after that to reach 3 billion in 1960. So, and now I feel like correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like in 2010, the population was still 7 billion. It was like 7.1, like on the former half as opposed to the latter half of that number. And now it's at 8. Like, it just keeps exponentially getting faster and faster, right? And we're still using shit that was drafted, comprised, and composed by white slave owners. So there's that. Yeah, exactly. Of course. Yes. Any system that upholds white supremacy, they're clutching it. They're clutching onto it for dear life. Part of the Republicans' entire fucking argument around immigration reform and childcare and reproductive rights is the great replacement theory, right? That white people are being replaced by brown and black people and other people that are not white. Super fucking, obviously blatantly racist, right? So that's what we're up against. Yes. Oh my God, Whiskey, so true. As an Our Flag Meets Death reference. We are still using stuff that was thought up when Stede Bonnet, actual Stede Bonnet, was still alive. Which is fucking... You just broke my brain on that one. But okay. As we know in the last stream, watch it on YouTube, I left the fucking Democratic Party, like, as in, I wasn't like a proud Democrat, but like I voted for Biden in 2020, right? But after Roe got overturned last year, I know, little blue waves, listen, I know that the justices that were appointed were not appointed by him. They were appointed by Trump, which should, given his 700 years worth of fucking crimes that he has to answer for, should illegitimize their position, in my opinion. But whatever. Pesky rules and laws, right? But Biden's entire election campaign in 2020 was that he was going to codify Roe v. Wade. Something that realistically is within the president's power by way of either executive order or by way of expanding the court. Both are entirely possible. And while we're fucking at it, Mr. Barack Obama could have also done the same. Chose not to. Got his 2 terms, bounced. Right? So when you put all of that hope into one shiny, glistening carrot and dangle it in Democrats' face, like myself, I fucking believed him. How naive of me. How incredibly naive of me. So, my mind was made up about him before October 7th. And then, of course, this past month has happened. And if you're one of those people who lives under a rock and who willingly turns away for mental health reasons, that's only cute and quirky and fresh to a certain degree, right? With my sensory processing disorder that I have and the issues that I have with processing emotions and processing information in real time, even I feel like I spent too long educating myself on it and not saying anything out loud because I didn't want to make an incomplete stance, not knowing everything that I know. And a lot of people rely on brown people in conflict and how white supremacy and United States culture and media dehumanizes brown and black people to the point where it seeps into our consciousness while we're watching fictional works, right? So when people on the other side of the planet are going through a thing, it's real easy for Americans to just completely ignore it. Well, some of us, right? But when I tell you that this past 34 days, 35 days, I don't know. 30 days have September, April, June, and November. 34, 35. every Democrat, or every politician, I should say, in mainstream politics who you thought was with the shits aren't. And I find it extremely curious that both sides of the aisle are united on this. As polarized as we've become, thanks to the results of the 2016 election and what has been fostered since, doesn't anyone else find it fucking strange? That the likes of fucking, what's his name? Jim Jordan and Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz, Zodiac Killer himself, have the same opinions, game plans, goals, and wants for this conflict as the current president of the United States, who allegedly sits on the other side of the aisle. Look up Biden's policies from back in the day when his hair wasn't white, when he had some vinegar in his step, some pep in his step, you know? Flaming segregationist. Blatant. Among other problematic fucking things. Like advocating for the disproportionate incarceration of black men in jail for weed. Of course, same thing with Kamala, right? I know. Yeah. So, these people think Trump bad, Trump will always be bad. Hey, fucking man. Hallelujah, big agree. He sucks. Like I said multiple times on the last stream, I want to see his cranium on a pike just as much as y'all do, okay? I do. I've read through Project 2025. Single-handedly the most dystopian, terrifying, Handmaid's Tale to the 18 millionth degree thing I've ever fucking read. Bone-chilling. Infuriating. Radicalizing. Because of its blatant just subjugation turned up to 11. Right? White Christian nationalism. Funded by these groups that have their hand in every pie up top. Like, that's what I mean when I talk about wanting to dismantle the system. It's an absolute behemoth. And yeah, me just sitting here talking to a couple dozen people in my fucking living room, this is pretty much the capacity of what I can do in this moment. I don't have $100 billion fucking dollars to single-handedly dismantle the system, right? Just let the ads run through, baby.
Yeah.
But what has empowered me to voice my feelings about this out loud are seeing other people do it. And seeing other people come to terms with the fact that the government does not give a fuck about us. No matter what they say in their shiny little campaign drills. Right? That is a hard pill to swallow. In this last month, seeing this stuff happen in real time and active genocide is opening people's eyes for the first time. And while it's all too easy to say, where the fuck have you been? That's not the right thing to say to someone who's learning about this stuff for the first time. Because of course, where the fuck have you been? Where the fuck was I? You know, a handful of years ago. I was in the dark about all of this until I wasn't, right? So I just have not been able to wrap my mind around witnessing this happen, knowing that that POTUS is actively advocating for this, perpetuating this, and literally funding this. And still registering to vote for this man because Orange Man bad. I live in Southern Appalachia. Okay? I am, I'm one, in 2016, I was one of maybe 2 Democrats in my entire family tree. I know, I prove me wrong, extended relatives. I'm the only leftist in my family by any stretch of the imagination. I am surrounded by people with Jesus is Lord, life begins at conception, back the blue, come and take it, Trump 2024, bumper stickers, mentalities, Trump flags on the back of trucks. I am surrounded by that. Right? And never was that more saturated in my fucking face than 2016 and 2020 specifically. The re-election. That didn't happen. But this time around, it's not so blatant. And sure, I know it's because a portion of them fucking got killed because they don't believe in science or vaccines or masks. And they fucking died of COVID. I'm not talking about just that. I'm talking about how increasingly embarrassing it's becoming to be a fucking supporter of that man. Like it always was, right? But like, the leader of Nexium is doing triple digits in prison, right? For deplorable shit. And Donald Trump is on trial for crimes that cumulatively the sentences add up to, what was it? Was it 700 or 900 years? Just absolutely diabolically unprecedented numbers, right? People in his own party have turned on him. Entire news organizations have finally wiped their mouth off and climbed out of bed with him, right? And I truly believe that this trial shit's going to get to him so bad that he's not even going to be able to complete any sort of presidential campaign. I feel like his health is going to finally come to cash that check in whatever capacity, and he won't be able to do it. That's just what I think. I mean, I hope that comes true. That would be fucking amazing.
Well,
that's conjecture or whatever. What, baby?
What I've heard is that this isn't a trial. It's already the judge's mind has been made up.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, it's not a jury trial.
Yeah, it's a bench trial.
It's a bench trial.
The judge is gonna fucking.
Yeah.
They're just making sure they get their P's and Q's and I's and T's.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Good point as well. So all of that to say, I know. Hey, if I lose you, I lose you. That ship has sailed. I'm hemorrhaging everywhere, right? Followers. I started that fucking thing on TikTok today, that process, and it's been going great. But I think that he is the weakest he's ever been in terms of following support and a snowball's chance. Okay? That's my personal opinion. I'm not emotionally attached to that opinion. I am well aware that reality exists, and he could very well make it all the way to election day and still be on the fucking ballot and all that shit, obviously, right? But he's, Anyway, let's get back to the main thing I was talking about. So I've shared examples of conversations with these blue no matter who people who think they're schooling me and use their age against me, use me using the F word against me, calling me dumb and ignorant and privileged and reckless. I've talked about it before, but obviously I am a member of multiple marginalized communities, at the same exact time, I have multiple privileges by being white, by being an American, by being a straight passing woman, right? But the woman part is also very much a marginalization in this country, especially since I have less rights to my own body than a corpse does, you know? So, today on TikTok, just scrolling through, my algorithm is so fucking weird these days. TikTok I've been shadow banned on and off all fucking summer, talking about COVID, talking about capitalism, talking about this, talking about Palestine. Free Palestine, by the way, just while I'm fucking at it. That's the shit we're on over here. Get with it or get bent. But anyway, I got shown a video by a mutual of mine who, there are actually several mutuals of mine that I need to reassess their vibe, you know? Because with some of these people, I'm like, some of these people, not this particular person, but some of these people have been really, really quiet about what's going on in Palestine. Some of these people have been riding a little bit too hard for genocide or for the IDF. And I've been regurgitating propagandized talking points a little too much for my liking, you know? So it's making me reassess my own following, people that I follow. Because people follow me for multiple fucking reasons. I have a fucking, what do you call it? Modge podge of followers that came this summer when I, you know, grilled John Rich's ass cheeks. And then, you know, they see me talk about this, and then they check completely out, which is good. See ya. Don't need you. Don't care. Do not care. So, this mutual of mine, however, made a TikTok where she was responding to a comment referring to Joe as Genocide Joe, which I find hilarious and apt. And although they don't start with the same letter, y'all already know I'm a little Sally slut for alliteration, even if it's only oral alliteration. Genocide Joe, je ne sais quoi, you know? It's just Genocide Joe. It just has that same little and it's fucking accurate, right? But this person, I've debated watching the video on this stream, because I don't want to misrepresent what they're saying. And I already made a TikTok about how I was going to talk about this on stream, so here we fucking are. And I want y'all to make the judgment call for yourself, because I'm not here trying to tell you what to think or to tell you how to vote. I'm here to give you information, to tell you objectively that what we are continuing to do is simply not working, and how we deserve better, and how change happens is not doing the same fucking thing over and over and over and over again. Can't believe that's a hot take. But anyway, give me just a second here. Okay, let's move over to the other screen. Split screen, split screen. Can I get a split screen? Split screen. Great. Yeah, I got receipts, okay? Listen. Because like I said, I've got a fucking brain. The floor is made of Swiss cheese, and the entire floor is a trapdoor, okay? Especially being, you know, weaning off of my ADHD meds. I'm fighting for my fucking life every day, and I cannot state that enough. So, I'm not sharing this to do anything but convey their message accurately. so that we have more to pull from. Plus, it's good for me to hear it again, because it'll remind me of shit that I forgot to say earlier that I want to say now, you know? Okay. I like the way you think. My brain has never known a day of peace in her miserable life. But I appreciate the sentiment. It's been watered. Okay. I need to know off the rip if y'all can hear the audio when I start playing it. Let me know. If not, we'll fucking work it out. But you should be able to hear it just fine. Let me turn the music off. Okay. Here we go. Hold on. Let me start it over. Let me move it up a little. Move it down a little. And I'm only using this because this is the example that I've been experiencing today. On other streams, I've used examples from Twitter that I experienced. This is my first time talking about it on TikTok, so this is where we're fucking at, okay? The top text says, withdrawing your vote for Biden. Your vote for Biden is not the flex you think it is. The text on this is tiny. I don't like Biden either, but the entire U.S. government supports Israel. It has for your entire life. You've only cared about it for a month. Okay, so this is her own comment that she's extrapolating on, you know? Okay. Where's the sound? Oh, Tatum, click the unmute thing, you dumb whore. Turn it all the way up. Let's go.
Just so we're clear, those of us who are left of center have spent the last 7 years trying to forestall the fall of democracy.
How's the volume? I know it's quiet, but I'm on 100% everywhere, so sorry. Well, just let me know if you need more loud. I'll try to do it.
And the taking over of fascism. And you're telling me that there are people who have been on the right side of history who are now deciding that they are willing to throw all of that away, all of that progress, not even just the last 7 years of progress, not just the last 7 years of protesting and grassroots organizing during a pandemic, I hasten to add. But they're not only willing to just throw that away, but every...
I'll pause and as I think of things. So, another point that I've not made yet today on Twitter or TikTok, except for like in a comment on my own fucking thing that no one's gonna fucking read because TikTok comments are a fucking lawless wasteland. No chronological order. It's madness. You know, talk about the pandemic real quick. Y'all already know. We're still in it, by the way. The world has abandoned disabled people, immunocompromised people, and high-risk people. We've been sequestered in our homes, unable and discouraged from existing in public. I still do, much to the chagrin of my fucking world colleagues, as I'll call them. I don't fucking know. Other adults, they get uncomfortable seeing a mask in public because it reminds them of their reality that they're ignoring. Trump handled it awful. During Trump's administration, we received those stimulus checks that Mitch McConnell thought was supposed to sustain us for like 14 months. Living high on the hog, $800 payments. Woo! But you want to know who handled it worse? This is going to be hard to hear from my blue wave bitches. Joe Biden. Because tell me why that motherfucker went on 60 Minutes in September 2021 and declared the pandemic was over. Yes! We did it, America. We fucking did it. We got rid of COVID by being Americans about it. No logic whatsoever. Obviously not fucking true. COVID is still putting up 9/11 numbers every week, and those are just the reported ones. Reporting is discouraged. Testing is discouraged. There are no masks required in healthcare, in cancer wards, in NICU centers. People are raw dogging the air, mouth breathing all over each other for the sake of the almighty dollar. So that is another humongous fucking reason why Joe Biden can get bent and stay there. He made it abundantly clear how he feels about the reality of this pandemic, about disabled people, immunocompromised people, not realizing that he in and of himself is immunocompromised because he has had COVID multiple fucking times. And also taking for granted, all of y'all that quit wearing a mask in 2021 like everybody else, that you are one incident away from becoming disabled. Period. And disability justice and advocacy is only a sliver of what fuels me to get out of bed, but it is an enormous sliver. Also fueled by spite. Just wanted to touch on that real quick. I neglected to say that elsewhere.
Boycott every march, every piece of legislation that progressives have been working hard to get since the 50s. You're going to get rid of all of that, throw it away because of a single issue. Because you cannot, in good conscience, vote for someone who supports Israel. I hate so much that you have just decided that you care about this in the last month, when this has been going on for your entire life. Literally every candidate you've ever voted for, every candidate, whether they be Republican or Democrat, has supported Israel. That is the U.S. government's line on this, across party lines.
That is true. That is objectively true. And we are still seeing that play out. The U.S. supports Israel. The U.S. is funding genocide at the hands of the Israeli government right now. Right now. And has been, of course, because Palestinian oppression did not begin on October 7th. Palestinian genocide did not begin on October 7th. Please read up on Nakba, 1948. The original, first mass displacement and genocide, when it began, of the Palestinian people during the establishment of Israel after World War II. Same, Sylvia. I quit being a liberal in fucking 20. I want to say the vestiges of it were all but gone in 2020, and then of course living through a pandemic and all this shit. Definitely no longer a liberal. Okay. Sure. Like Sylvia said, it's not a single issue, at least not for me. Continue.
And you think for one moment that it's going to get better because you decided to withdraw your vote over this single issue?
Quit acting like Joseph Biden is our knight in shining armor, okay? It's an extremely white perspective to not acknowledge the harm that he continues to cause to marginalized communities. Hello. I'm white. But I can recognize that there are other marginalized communities more greatly affected by his policies and lack thereof. Okay?
I'm really sorry that you decided, or found out rather, within the last month, that your government doesn't really give a crap about what you think, because when it comes to the military and military spending, they don't ask us. But that's been happening for as long as you've been alive.
Yes, it has.
Full stop. Every single candidate you've ever voted for has been pro-Israel. So I don't want to hear any more of this calling Joe Biden Genocide Joe.
I don't want to hear any more of this calling Joe Biden Genocide Joe.
You don't want to hear that?
Because why? Why is that? Because it makes you uncomfortable? Because it reminds you of what's happening right now? You know what I don't want to hear? When someone in earnest good faith asks him what the possibility is of a ceasefire and he says, no possibility. I don't want to hear that.
With a little fucking smile on his face.
With a little smile on his aviators. Dark Brandon.
Yeah, oh, he's real dark now.
It's good for the economy. Hurts nobody. Helps everybody. Genocide.
Because this genocide doesn't belong to him any more than it belongs to Obama or Gore or even Trump or Bush or any president going back the last 70 years. I'm super duper sorry that you figured out in the last month that your government supports genocide in other nations.
Baby girl, let me tell you something. You're forgetting a lot. Tell me how you feel. I'll tell you, Sean Paul. Like I said in that fucking video on TikTok that got mysteriously taken down for misinformation because of what I'm about to say. But please, I implore someone to expeditiously point out the lie in what I'm about to say. Point out the misinformation. Just because it makes you uncomfortable doesn't make it misinformation. Letting COVID rip through our schools, through our nursing homes, through our hospitals, through our workplaces, through our restaurants, through our homes, through the streets, everywhere, is responsible for mass disablement and death. And the hush-hushedness and the sweep under the ruggedness of that has desensitized us to things that directly affect us. Because tell me why I see these fucking people going to these Taylor Swift concerts. First of all, listen, I know I'm going to lose some of you here too, maybe even quicker than on the genocide stance, but I do not fuck with Taylor Swift. I do not. Don't fuck with her. Don't. And I'll leave it at that. Anyway, going to her concert and then 3 days later being like, oh my God, I'm so sick. I can't get out of bed. What the fuck? I wasn't just raw dogging recycled fucking regurgitated air with 47,000 people. We are so cognitively dissonant, compartmentalized, separated from reality. Continue.
But they always have, and they do. And I know that's disappointing.
Hold on. I need to see what she just said there. Sorry. But they always have and they do. Okay, yeah. Your government supports genocide in other nations, then probably. Okay, yeah, got it.
Other nations. But they always have, and they do. And I know that's disappointing. But what you're letting happen is...
No. Bestie, what's disappointing is when I order from my local pizza joint and they're out of my favorite topping. That's disappointing. What's happening right now is unconscionable. Inexcusable. Evil.
Is you're letting the GOP make this into a wedge issue for you. Well, I can in good conscience vote for the Democrats or vote for Biden because, look, I don't like Biden either. I'm a communist.
I want you to remember that sentence. Remember that sentence. Okay? Took almost half the TikTok to say that.
There has never been a candidate who is far left enough for me. For me, every time I voted for everyone, including the 2 times that I voted for Obama, including when I voted for Bernie.
So, I forgot that she voted for Bernie Sanders in 2016. Because, like we just talked about earlier, he was everywhere, right? He seemed like an actual, like, holy shit, maybe he's going to fucking pull this one out. Maybe he's going to win this, you know? So, well, I'm not going to sit here and fucking lie to you. I turned the video off at this point. I have not seen the entire video. I watched all I could stomach by myself. I made my TikTok and I've been in the trenches ever since. But I wish I had found the fortitude to watch to this point because, bitch, you got me fucked up, down, and all around for criticizing me for not voting for Genocide Joe. Genocide Joe. Bitch, I just said it. Genocide Joe. Genocide Joe. What? Excuse the fuck out of me.
Yeah, they're too centrist for me. And I think it is the absolute height of privilege for people to think, well, I don't agree with him on this one thing, and so I'm going to withdraw my vote? I understand that it's frustrating and you want your vote to make a difference, but the fact that you just learned in the last month that our U.S. government supports Israel, and that's the thing that you're going to say, I'm withdrawing my vote over it.
The only way, and so far, that she has used the word genocide is to describe how it hurts her ears when we call Joe Biden Genocide Joe. She has yet to acknowledge the Palestinian genocide that is occurring. She is dismissing it as this one little pesky little thorn in the side issue. Bitch, you are disingenuous as fuck for that. You are disingenuous as fuck for that. You fucking strapped on your ballet fucking slippers and you are pirouetting around the issue. In sassafras fashion, I'll admit. But still.
That doesn't make any sense. Surely you can see how silly that is.
Genocide isn't silly. You might think that this is a pesky little silly little issue because you don't see brown people as people. I don't know. You're a communist. I don't know. I'm not alleging that this person is racist. I'm alleging that they are viewing this from a Caucasian lens. Where's the lie? I was going to say something else, but I forgot.
And surely you can see how that's exactly what the GOP wants you to do. Because the GOP has spent the last 40 years making abortion into the single issue for Republican voters. And it worked.
I have not seen a single moment past this, like, at all. So I have to pause and take in what she's fucking saying right now. Because what?
Or surely you can sense. Surely you can see how silly that is. And surely you can see how that's exactly what the GOP wants you to do. Because the GOP has spent the last 40 years making abortion into the single issue for Republican voters. And it worked.
And it worked. Yeah, your boy GJ was in the driver's seat when that shit got overturned, bitch.
I don't know what you expect to have happen when there's somebody in the GOP who is steering the ship. Because, look, I'm 100% behind Palestine in this cause.
Oh, all right. Okay, relax. There it is. 5 minutes into a 7-minute video. I am 100% behind Palestine in this conflict. Your vote suggests otherwise, Madame.
Conflict, 100%. And it is noteworthy that that protest took place all across the country, and
World.
especially in Washington, D.C., when you had over 300,000 people protesting to free Palestine. But you know what else is noteworthy about that? What's noteworthy is what didn't happen. You know what didn't happen?
A ceasefire.
The militarized police were not deployed. They were not tear gassed. They were not shot at with rubber bullets. There weren't mass arrests. And if you think for one moment that that wouldn't have happened under the GOP's leadership,
What? Baby, are you able to see the captions from back there?
No.
Okay, so let me fucking just repeat what she just said. You know, 300,000 people. I'm standing up now. Y'all got me out my motherfucking seat.
Taters doesn't stand up.
I don't stand up for nobody except my bladder when it's 11 out of 10 full because I've been ignoring it for 2 hours because I'm PDA profile autistic. She said that 300,000 people in D.C., you know, were, you know, marched and protested and were, you know, in the streets for Palestine, free Palestine. You know, that's noteworthy that happened. But she said, you know what's noteworthy that didn't happen? They didn't get tased. They didn't get tear gas. There weren't arrests. They didn't get their ass beat by the militarized police. But you're telling me that under GOP leadership that would have happened? You're giving the current administration credit for not beating the shit out of people who are exercising their First Amendment rights to free speech and the right to peacefully protest. The same administration that asked for 12 digits of money to provide to the Israeli military, but only got 11 digits. Womp womp. I'm going to have a seat now.
the point is that if you're going to discover that your government is corrupt, you sure picked a hell of a time to learn it.
Oh! I am so sorry. If you're going to learn that your government is corrupt, you picked a hell of a time to learn it, she said.
Great. I totally picked this time.
Right, in the hyper-individualistic American mindset. Instead of calling the system into question that is allowing all of this to take place, you again are blaming people for becoming educated about this at a really inconvenient time, guys. You know, we have a big election coming up, an orange man bad, and you guys don't need to be learning the truth about all this right now. Why don't you just fucking vote Democrat, said the communist!
Oh, Jesus. Gross.
There's a whole other fucking minute of this fucking thing.
We need to have somebody in office that we can reach.
Yeah, because
And
Biden's
I
really
know the
reachable.
Dems aren't ideal. I don't like them either.
You sure?
But I know that they're not going to tear gas me while I'm protesting.
I am so sorry that I ever followed you. If I'd known that this rotten noodle nonsense was floating around in your noggin, I never would have clicked that fucking button. Talk about privilege. Sounds about white.
I know that I have a better chance of holding my nose and voting for Biden and getting that guy in office and getting him to actually hear me than I will ever have with a Christo-fascist tyranny in place who wants to eradicate the LGBTQ community, who wants to burn books, who wants to make sure that you don't get the information that you want. It is to me the height of privilege, absolutely, that you can decide, no, this time, now, in the last month, I've decided that this is the fulcrum issue. Think about all of the work that we've been doing. What has it been for? Only for you to throw it all away on something that the GOP is dying for you to throw it all away on.
Finish your fucking sentence. What work have you been doing? Because let me tell you something, bitch. The women's suffrage movement, the civil rights movement, none of those things would have taken place if people were just falling in line and voting and doing their thing. Change does not happen from voting for the same people over and over and over again. I need to hear something again.
Now, in the last month, I've decided that this is the fulcrum issue.
You are really mad at people for being upset at the genocide. I am appalled that you are not. You got this fucking third grade fucking school teacher finger wagging. You've got detention, inflection, and delivery about you that I am really trying to look past because, of course, have you met me? I'm not one to hang people on the cross for how they deliver a message. But I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the absolute condescension in your tone. But because you're not saying a bad word, you're correct? Oh, okay.
Think about all of the work that we've been doing.
That's right. What work have you been doing? Voting every 4 years like a good girl? When's the last march you went to? Last protest? What's the last letter you wrote to a representative? I've been writing to my representatives all fucking year about dropping COVID mitigations and ending the emergency declaration because, hello, disabled people and immunocompromised people have been left to die. Of course, I get a bunch of kerfuffle back and nothing changes. So that made me feel helpless. But I have a fucking idea that that's more than you ever did.
What has it been for? Only for you to throw it all away on something that the GOP is dying for you to throw it all away on so that they can get in power and then also not do the right thing.
Okay. And instead of me just sitting here fucking paraphrasing, I'm just going to show you the stitch I made to this video today. I was in the middle of my lunch scrolling my phone and I said, God damn it. Reached over, got my little tripod out, and you know the rest.
You're going to say, I'm withdrawing my vote over it. That doesn't make any sense.
All right, so this is going to be a one take. I've been hemorrhaging followers on all my other platforms, so naturally, TikTok's next. We are mutuals, me and this person, but this video ran the fuck through me, and I'm going to tell you why. So, this person and people like this person, well, this person said that they're a communist. I see you, comrade. I see you. I see where your values... Full disclosure, this is a lie. I said this so the video wouldn't get taken down because this app is fucking milquetoast and don't like when women say the F word. Nothing she said in that video was communist, except the word communist. Why? I understand why you said what you said.
No, I don't.
But I need to speak personally as to why I will not be voting for Joe Biden in 2024. I voted for Joe Biden in 2020 on 3 premises. 1, orange man bad, right? Because of course. 2, because he promised to cancel student loans. Cricket, cricket, cricket. And 2, because he promised to codify Roe v. Wade. Cricket, cricket, cricket. So, when Roe v. Wade got overturned last year, that was the straw that broke my back. Because Democrats rely on Republicans to be insufferable, foul, evil fucking people, overtly so, blatantly so that they can say, hey, at least I'm not that guy, right? At least I'm not him or her or them, and then refuse to do absolutely nothing. So that's where my mind was at before October 7th. And you have 10 digits,
11, 12 digits
worth of tax dollars being sent across the Atlantic Ocean to murder entire bloodlines that have existed since the time of Christ. It's not just a conscience thing, okay? Joseph Biden is relying on blue wave Democrats, on vote blue no matter who Democrats, and on people like the person I stitched to vote them into office again. That's why nothing is changing. Yeah, our vote fucking matters. That's why I'm not voting for the motherfucker. Period. I think more people need to follow suit. More people need to be vocal about their refusal to vote for an actual genocidal maniac. And me saying that is not giving 45 a vote. It's just not. I've gotten so much hate and flack and vitriol flung at me from these blue wave motherfuckers, and it has absolutely astounded me that they think that guilting me and threatening me with Trump's existence, like I didn't live through 4 fucking years of it already, is going to get me to change my mind about this. It's not. It's not. Joseph Biden is not the good guy. He is also evil. And just because he doesn't mock disabled reporters and take out ads in the New York Times
I was talking about the Central
about
Park 5,
how
but my brain farted.
black people should be buried under the jail or something, doesn't mean that he's not fucking evil. Look at his policies in the past. I wasn't fucking thrilled about voting for him in 2020, but like,
They're really gonna make me vote for Joe Biden. Doom, 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 doom. A banger. Apt.
I said earlier, I voted for him on those 3 premises. He will never receive my vote ever fucking again. I'm sick of Democrats telling me that in order for change to happen, you need to continue to vote Democrat. That's hilarious and head pat cute, fucking adorable. Not gonna happen. Because that's not how change happens. Change does not happen by doing the same thing over and 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 over ad nauseum. That's why nothing has changed. I am a staunch anti-capitalist. Democrats and Republicans are both sides of the same genocidal capitalist coin. And it took this last month for more people to realize what I already knew to be true. And if witnessing an actual genocide this past month is radicalizing people, good. It needs to. That means that they have at least a sliver of empathy. So get off your fucking high horse, blue wave Democrats and the like, by threatening us with fascism. Baby, we're already fucking living it. What do you think clandestine military spending without the public's approval or knowledge is? That's what Joseph Biden is currently planning to do. Send financial aid to Israel without notifying the public. That's fascism, baby. That is fascism. Period. I've talked about But if you want me to give the benefit of the doubt, at the very least, it's autocracy. About this before, but that video got taken down mysteriously. So yeah, I'm done. I'm done with the two-party system. I'm done with bipartisan politics altogether. It needs to be dismantled, and if this is our breaking point as a nation and as a planet, then so the fuck be it. Period. I said what I fucking said, right? And I'm so sorry that people's realizations are ill-timed. Do you hear yourself? No, she doesn't. So I'm going to read you the comments that took place under my TikTok from the original creator. Thank you. Whiskey, I love you. Thank you for ever being my water mom. Okay. Oh, I hope I didn't delete the screenshots. Oh, fuck. Hold on, I have them elsewhere. Alright. This is the person who we watched before mine. Right, still, same creator. I can't stand Biden either. I hate both parties. But it's possible to help Palestine without setting ourselves on fire. I said votes are earned, not owed. I'll say it again for the people who might have missed it the first time. Votes are earned. Votes are not owed. And I'm so sorry that that's your relationship with the Democratic Party. I have no such relationship. The last time I exercised anything in that sort of relationship with the Democratic Party was in 2020. And we got our shit handed to us, didn't we? I said, if we're all caught by the short hairs to pick the less worse guy, that is objectively not a functioning democracy. Where are the Democratic primaries? Riddle me that. Riddle me that. She said, hey, I agree. It's frustrating as hell. I've never had a candidate who I support with my whole chest, but there's a better way. Things are going to get worse, no question, but we don't have to speed the plow. I said, I agree with you. There is a better way. It starts with breaking the cycle. Finding different candidates, rallying behind them, and power in numbers. And I really hate the character limits in TikTok comments. It's even worse than Twitter. She said, where's the candidate? Because if we're only voting for candidates we fully support, I'm going to need a communist. How long will that be? I need to deconstruct that real quick. You're a communist. But when I come up with a possible solution, breaking the cycle, finding a different candidate, rallying behind them, and spreading the word, you know, like an election, all of a sudden it's, well, if it's going to be someone that we support 100%, I'm going to need Karl Marx to be reincarnated, and I'll settle for nothing less. And I guess she wasn't fucking expecting me to have an answer. Because I said, the only worthy candidate, in my opinion, that I have found in my bit of research that I've been starting to do on this, that aligns with progressive socialist views, is Claudia de la Cruz. Please look into her and see what you think. And exactly 11 minutes later, she responded, I think she's not left enough for me. Moving the fucking goalpost, right? said, a hell of a lot more left than Biden. No. Turns headphones up. So, this is her. So I'm still supposed to make concessions? We're right back to the lesser of two evils.
Oh my God!
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Oh my God! I said ... yes. That was the whole point of your video, no? Well, the 3 minutes and some change that I watched, but holy fuck. I didn't know it got so much worse. Except you're defending your choice to vote for a deplorable warmongerer and capitalist. No nuance, question mark? 404, nuance not found. Oh my God, is that a shirt idea? She said, there's never been a candidate who wasn't a warmongerer and a capitalist. Didn't mean I withheld my vote. Mic drop. Real communist girl shit. This is where I lost my fucking patience, right? Because I smelled that passive aggressiveness. It is a stench I know well, right? I said, perpetuating hyper-individualism instead of understanding where I'm coming from by blaming me for withholding my one vote. By the way, if I were to vote Democrat, my vote would be washed up in the tide because I exist in an ocean of red. Again, Southern Appalachia. Trump 2024, yee yee, right? You know, and referring to her not withholding her vote, I said, good for you. I'm not withholding my vote. I'm casting it elsewhere. Cope. And that's the fucking last screenshot I took. But, it got worse after that, and I, quite frankly, don't have the spoons to read it word for word because this shit makes my fucking stomach hurt. But essentially, she essentially was like, you know, I've been nothing but polite and nice to you, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, just really drilling home the semantics, right? So I had to be like, let's focus on the fucking thing at hand, sweetheart. Semantics aside, why not Claudia de la Cruz? Where does she fall short for you? Where is she not left enough for you? And she said, and I remember this, quote, she's not a communist.
He needs some milk.
I said, neither is Joe, bestie. So why him? Why Biden? Oh my God. And she said, quote, because a GOP loss is a necessity. There it was. There it fucking was. And you know what? While we're covering the saga, literally, dinner was like ready to go.
The reason why you are being surrounded by so many...
Sorry. Dinner was ready to go. And I had to sit there and fucking film a TikTok about this. Because I had to. PJ's falling. She finally said it out loud. The goal of her vote was that the GOP loss is more important to her than any fucking thing else. So, I'll just fucking show you. The video I made like a fucking, I don't know, 2 hours ago. And then I'm fucking done with this fucking shit. Hi, it's me. I'm over here. And over here. You can't escape me. Okay. Oh! Oh my god. I can never get the sound right on the first try. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Is the bingo bango bongo. This is the crux. This is the nucleus. This is the soul of the Blue No Matter Who movement, because they don't give a fuck who's in there as long as it's not Orange Man, because Orange Man bad, right? This binary 0 or 100 thinking without any acknowledgement of the reality of 1 through 99, in which all of us fucking live, by the way, if you pay the fuck attention, has led us to being truly unable to fathom a way out of this. Bipartisan, which is truly the same coin, like I said in the other video, way of life that is not conducive to humans thriving in any capacity. This person has said that they were a communist, but at every conceivable turn this evening in my comment section on this video, they have proven themselves to be anything but, really. I mean, you can say you're one all day long, that's super cute and quirky, you can even put a little cute fucking font on it, but your actions are proving otherwise. It took me all evening to get the answer out of you on why Biden and why not a progressive socialist candidate such as Claudia de la Cruz, who I recommended to you and you dismissed her as not left enough for you, as if Biden even is. You're getting played, just like everyone who still believes in bipartisan politics. You are frothing at the mouth at the same velocity and capacity as the person on the other side of the aisle opposite of you. You're just frothing in different fucking flavors and colors. What a privileged white perspective to have, not acknowledging the realities of marginalized communities who are the most greatly affected by the bullshit and endless pitfalls of bipartisan politics. Bipartisan politics. Democrats are not the good guys, y'all. Please wake up. I'm done with this conversation. Well, actually I'm not, because I'm about to stream about it on Twitch, and that's where I can really let loose, because this milquetoast app is all but trying to get me kicked off. I just can't. I can't stand the vitriol that is being flung my way, and the passive aggressiveness, and the Olympic level goalpost moving that is taking place in these conversations by people who do not want to understand where I'm coming from, because you, like everyone else, are emotionally attached to your perspectives. Tune into my fucking stream tonight if you want to see me go over the programs and policies of progressive socialist candidate Claudia de la Cruz. And until I can take a better shit to vote for, that's who I'm going to be fucking endorsing, because these octogenarian genocidal fucks are not doing it for us anymore, y'all. Period. Period. All right. Pickle, I just remembered you. I saw your comment from like an hour ago where you're like, or maybe it was a Twitter, I don't fucking know, where you were like, what did the cats think of that little passion at the end? I don't know. I didn't see any of them. They were all sleeping elsewhere. They're used to my loud ass. So. And usually what I do is I block people who I respond to in comments, especially when I yell, because people don't like when women yell. But I didn't want to do that to this person and erase all of their comments on that other thread, because TikTok's weird like that. So I'm shocked that video is still up. Not because I'm mean in it, but because I'm fucking using the F word and raising my voice, and people don't like that. And I hate that for them. You know what I don't like? Genocide. You know what I fucking refuse to fucking endorse? Genocide. And it's not just genocide, bestie. I don't know what your fucking name is. Bestie. I checked out last year and a half ago, from the Democratic Party. I said never again. And like I said in my first TikTok, if what has been happening for the past 30 days and some change is opening people's eyes to the reality of the US government being a corporation in and of itself, and to quote one of my mutuals, Kai, earlier, I saw one of their videos, they said that everything is transactional, and a business will not sign a contract or do business in a way that does not benefit that business. And what benefits the US? War. War because money. And, 20 years ago, after 9/11, we went through the same shit. I was too young to understand it then. I understand a lot now, and I'm so sorry that it's ill-timed because Donald Trump is winning again, and we really have to beat him. Because Orange guy really bad, actually. And Joe Biden is a good guy because he wears blue, and I like blue. Please. I want to move on with this, so I'm going to take a quick BRB, and then we're going to go over what I'm actually looking forward to covering with y'all, which are the policies and programs of Socialist candidate Claudia de la Cruz. Drink 'em, snack 'em, smoke 'em if you got 'em. We'll be right back. Okay, doke, artichoke. Hi, Doc Rock. Yes. And, where's my music?
Turn it off or something earlier.
Hold on. Can y'all hear it? Does it matter? It doesn't fucking matter. Okay. If you can hear it, that's fine. I can't, but I don't really care. Okay. Yes. Let's go over, besides, the two fucking mainstream options that we are expected to endorse blindly and, unwaveringly and ambivalently meh for the sake of the almighty dollar. Okay, you can still hear it. Good. This is an actual viable option, in my opinion, but it's gonna take some fucking work, isn't it? Just like anything. Just like revolution, just like change. It's not as simple as just driving to the poll, pushing the blue button, and going back to work, right? It takes talking about this stuff. It takes shining a light on capitalism for what it really is. Before I get into this, PJ just told me something really insightful and reassuring during the break. Because I just glanced at my like to comment ratio on my last two TikToks that I showed you, and oh my god, they're almost identical, and that's never good. It's usually people in there scratching their own ass and sniffing their finger, or I made a bunch of people upset or whatever, and I essentially, it was just I can only be called crazy so many times before I start to believe it. And PJ said that to these people, you have to be crazy. That has to be the answer. Because what you're saying affects their reality if what you're saying is true. And what I'm saying, I let you know when my opinion is my opinion, but I also talk about objective realities, about capitalism, about COVID, about Palestine. I am not emotionally attached to my perspective, meaning that my emotions towards something are not the singular driving force, and I don't walk in half-cocked. I try to come correct. I try to bring receipts when applicable, as we just saw. I try to make sure that I'm operating from as complete of a perspective as I possibly can. And if or when new information comes to the forefront and illuminates something different, I change my view accordingly. That doesn't mean that depending on what that is, there isn't some sort of shock or grieving process that happens. Like learning that I'm disabled at the age of fucking 30. grieving for lives that I won't be able to live, for things that should have been, for things that can't be. That's inevitable, right? But my emotions, meaning like spite, anger, exasperation, if that's an emotion, that's more just so like a fucking way of being for me. Definitely fuel me to find answers, fuel me to learn more, and fuel me to deconstruct this shit and to try to find viable options that more closely align with what I believe in. And over the period of, you know, learning about all this extremely recently, I'm still learning, by the way, I've found a couple of candidates who are socialists, and I've been recommended this candidate over the past few weeks on my anti-capitalist posts. And upon doing some research, I was like, all right, I fucks with this. But really what got me was this video of Claudia de la Cruz
We have to until Palestine is free.
This is at the BlackRock headquarters in New York City.
BlackRock profits from death. They profit and invest in the death of Palestinian babies.
No shade, you're amazing. Use the bullhorn. I can't hear you. But I mean, hey, it's okay. The message is there, everything on point. I wish this video had captions, whatever. She's talking about, you know, the occupation of Palestine, the displacement and genocide of Palestinians, and BlackRock being one of the largest supporters, funders, perpetuators of colonialism, essentially. So, this bitch is about her business. Already, I'm like, I'm listening. You know? And before I forget this, I'm going to go ahead and say it now. My impending endorsement for this candidate is on the condition. I don't know if that's right there. That she starts taking disabled people and immunocompromised people into account, still leading the charge on these liberation efforts and shedding a light on capitalism for what it is, but also encouraging your constituents and you yourself wearing a respirator to these events. A KN95, an N95, FFP in the UK is like the UK equivalent of an N95. I'm sure you could get FFP here if you ordered them. The 3M Auras. My link tree has all kinds of mask resources. I just popped it in. Check it out. I'm not sponsored by any of them. I just give a fuck about the person next to me. Hot fucking take. I myself, back when fucking Tangerine Fuckface got elected, participated in my local women's march 3 years in a fucking row. I made signs and shit. I was screaming loud and proud. I showed the fuck up. I showed the fuck out. And it sucks that in the past few years, any sort of efforts like that, I have not been able to attend because the world has abandoned disabled and immunocompromised people. While I'm fucking at it, when you vote in 2024, people, wear a mask to the polls, because not wearing a mask to the voting booth is a form of voter suppression. Because American voters like me, and in worse health than me, with more severe conditions than me, have to assess their risk every single time they exist in public. And what's slower than a fucking voting booth? Standing in line, getting breathed on by old man Fred behind you that doesn't know what the words personal space means. So he's got his mothball breath permeating your nostrils. Wear a mask when you show up to these things, especially as a progressive socialist, because that's what I like by Bruno Mars, right? Just wanted to say that before we begin. It was Old Man Fred all along. I'm sure there's a fucking sea shanty about Old Man Fred out there somewhere. Scooby-Doo! Oh, yes! Yes! Old Man Jenkins. That's funny. That's funny. All right. So, this is Claudia, and her running mate's name is Karina. Her last name is Garcia. So, Claudia de la Cruz and Karina Garcia, running mate, vice president. Their whole fucking thing is, hello, what I talk about all the fucking time. Like, organically we align. I don't identify as a socialist, but I sure as fuck don't identify as a capitalist, people. So here we are. End capitalism before it ends us. Period. Paragraph. Join us in building a socialist movement. We will end the rule of the billionaires once and for all. Let me turn the music back on. Yeah, she got ink. She inked up. They color coordinated for the shoot. We love to see it. We love to see bad bitches in politics with bright red lipstick. We love to see black and brown representation in politics. We love to see women in politics holding a bullhorn, 10 toes down in BlackRock's headquarter lobby in New York fucking city, talking her shit. That's what I'm about. That is very much the energy that I am about. I'm not about old Joe walking in to get a fucking sub at Jersey Mike's and getting asked, hey, buddy, ceasefire? He's like, no possibility. A ceasefire's bad for the economy.
There's no money in a ceasefire.
There's no money in a ceasefire. Ceasefires are free.
I love that Joe Biden is just old Owen Wilson.
Yeah, my impression is just old, whispery Owen Wilson. He said, ceasefire? Wow. What's that? I think the fuck not. Fuck you, Joe. All right. Ooh, I kind of want us to watch this. Let's go. We're in presentation mode. I didn't have to type any of this. It's great.
The newest data suggests the U.S. economy is slowing down.
The Roe reversal is setting off ripple effects as states implement abortion bans.
Another train derailed outside Detroit today.
The number of Americans living without homes, in shelters, or on the streets continues to rise at an alarming rate.
Does it ever feel like the political system is working against us? Like regardless of who we vote for, the outcome is always the same? We're told this country is a democracy, but more and more it feels like a corporate regime. No matter which party is in power, only the rich ever come up on top. Today, the richest 1% own more wealth than the bottom 90% of Americans combined.
On top of that, heat waves, floods, and hurricanes are becoming a regular occurrence. Artificial intelligence is threatening to replace millions of jobs, and the threat of World War III is more serious than ever. Humanity is facing nothing short of an existential crisis, and what do the two parties offer us? Culture wars meant to divide us, and breadcrumbs disguised as solutions that come nowhere near meeting the scale of the problem.
Let's just say what we all know deep inside. Career politicians and real estate moguls are never going to save us. Corporate America has two parties. Shouldn't the working class have at least one? I am Claudia de la Cruz.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
And we're running for the President and Vice President of the United States on the ticket of the Party for Socialism and Liberation.
We're not career politicians, and we don't have billionaire friends. We're educators, community organizers, and mothers.
You don't need to tell us that the working class makes this country run. I'm from the South Bronx, and we know what hard work looks like.
Yes.
I know this country wouldn't last a day without the working class. So isn't it about time that we take charge?
This campaign is for all of us living paycheck to paycheck. We're working multiple jobs. For all of us who are sick of watching the rich get richer while we can't even pay our rent.
We don't just want to tax the billionaires. We want them out of power entirely. We need to seize big pharma, seize big tech, seize the big banks instead of letting them run our government. We need an economy that puts the people before profit. An economy built to generate prosperity for everyone, not just a handful of billionaires.
This campaign is not a one-time thing. We're running to build a political organization that finally gives voice to the working people of this country. It's time to stop going around in circles while the elites change places every 4 years. We think this country deserves a better option, a socialist option.
Period. That was solid.
I mean, not to be all Star Trekky, but I just wish that money didn't exist. But I understand that that's a pipe dream that I'll never see in 100 lifetimes. But, like, their stance on it is to create prosperity among the working class. You know, the backbone of the fucking country. You know how we found out that the working class is the backbone of the country?
When the country shut down.
March 2020 was very eye-opening. That was truly the beginning of my, like, leftist radicalization coming to fruition. Thunderclap. Realizing that if the government had just paid us to stay home for a couple months, and don't start with me, they can fucking afford it. The pandemic may be over entirely right now, meaning COVID fucking eradicated. In the earliest of days, we had that opportunity and we squashed it because closing down certain businesses, non-essential businesses, they worded it, non-essential versus essential. The essential jobs still had to work. Walmart, grocery stores, fast food, gas stations, toll booths, healthcare, of course, you know, public transport, other things that I can't think of right now, but that are obvious. Like, that's when the dust started to settle for me in my own life, and that paved the way to me learning about my neurodivergence. So, like, that was a time for a lot of realizations for a lot of people. A lot of late discovered autistic people that I know came to these realizations once the world shut down briefly. And when I say that, that's extremely hyperbolic. Americans in 2023 are blaming Applebee's being closed for a month for all of the cognitive decline and health problems that we're facing as a country now in 2023. It's definitely not the level, the BSL-3 airborne pathogen that we're letting run amok. Couldn't be that. You missed happy hour for 2 months. That's gotta be it, right? The economy is so fragile. This entire system is held up by toothpicks. Toothpicks made of air, right? Air picks, if you will, to the point where it started scaring these big corporations. Any large hedge fund investor that has poured millions of dollars into office properties. Can't have people working from home. You've got that overhead to fucking pay for, bitch. That 54-story office building in Chicago or whatever. So the economy, capitalism, end stage capitalism, is extremely very much to blame for gestures vaguely to everything. And I really fucks with these two because they are 100% air picks are what you use to play air guitar. Yes, 10 out of 10. No notes. So far, I'm liking what I'm hearing, but, you know, this is just the intro. We have yet to get into the policies yet. Here we go. This is essentially, you know, what they said in the video. This is their program. Every issue dealt with in this program and every injustice working people experience in society boils down to the question of who has power. Under the current capitalist system, a tiny clique of rich bankers and CEOs have the power and will do anything to maintain it. We stand for socialism, a system where poor and working people hold political and economic power and use it to meet the needs of all people and to preserve the planet. Reading out loud for an extended period of time activates my soft palate. Read more about our proposed solutions to meet the scale of the problems humanity faces. Clickety click. Here's our program. A program. First point. Seize the biggest 100 corporations. Create a new economy for the people. The 100 largest corporations in America should be seized from their billionaire owners and turned into public property owned by the working class that created their vast wealth in the first place. really all socialism is it centers the working class, the worker, the vast majority of actual society, not the 8 rich dudes up top running it, right? Should not be a hot take, people, but y'all be riding capitalism's dick so hard. You need to come up for air. You know what I mean? This could serve as the foundation for a total reorganization of the economy in a way that guarantees that everyone in society will have their basic needs met, massively rebuild urban and rural infrastructure, and bring down prices and rents. Did I turn my captions back on? Yes, I did. Hey! I'm good at it. Quality healthcare, education through college and beyond, free childcare, decent housing, and a living wage with union representation would become constitutional rights. Oh my God! I can never find the button on time.
Oh my God!
I want to talk about free childcare for a second. Pickle, this is all your fault, bro. Pickle turned me on to some more news, and I have been watching and catching up because I have a lot of content every single day. And that's stoking the flames. It's keeping me sharp. It's keeping me informed. I'm learning a lot of things. I have to take a lot of pauses and walk out of the room and just breathe deeply for a few minutes. But it's important information. And today I don't remember what they were about, but they talk about a lot of this stuff in a lot of their videos because everything's connected, right? Talking about, this is Republican logic, okay? The GOP doesn't want kids to learn about sex in school. Very much the gym teacher from Mean Girls. Don't have sex because you'll get pregnant and die. Proceeds to misspell syphilis on the board, right? That's the caliber of sex education they want for all schools. Abstinence only education, which has been proven to raise the number of teenage pregnancies. And safe sex education, and just teaching you about sex, teaching you what it is, teaching you what it does, what it causes, results in lower numbers of teenage pregnancies. Isn't that fucking interesting, right? So there's that. But then if you have sex and get pregnant, that's your cross to bear, sweetheart. Too bad. Too bad if it was consensual or not. Too bad if you already have kids and can't afford another one. Too bad if your birth control failed. Too bad, so sad. No abortion for you. Stamp. Give birth to a child that you aren't prepared to have, and in whatever capacity that might be. And then if it's because you're too poor to have that kid, no government handouts for you. If it's your own fault, you should have closed your legs, you slut. Okay, cool. So only men can spread their seed with reckless abandon. So that's the Republican way of life. Free childcare? No, nothing free. There's nothing scarier than socialism and communism to these people. I also loved during the beginning parts of the pandemic when people were fist fighting over toilet paper and whatnot. People were taking pictures of empty shelves because, you know, the essential workforce that was forced to work during pre-vaccine dangerous conditions were killed the fuck off. And that created a ripple effect in the supply chain, right? A lot of empty shelves. I remember a lot of empty shelves back when I still darkened the doorway of a fucking Walmart. Quick sidebar. Last time I was at Walmart. Oh, PJ just said, PJ just said,
oh my God.
Yes, I am going to tell them. We were doing our grocery shopping and I have a smeller that's on 11. Okay. It's a curse. It's like 2% a gift, 98% a curse. I have a 11 out of 10 sense of smell. Yes, this was almost 2 years ago. I have not been inside a Walmart since. Thank you very much. A sewage pipe burst inside of a Walmart in the grocery department the meats and cheeses department,
Oh,
the poultry and
Jesus.
beef department.
Gross.
And bitch, I can smell it in my brain's nose, in my mind's nose. I can smell it. Just hot, unadulterated, raw sewage. All alarms. Panic, panic, alert, alert. I couldn't even remember my fucking name. I just knew I had to get out of there.
What the fuck?
Have not been there since. Hi, my hero. Welcome
How
in.
we feeling out there tonight? Yeah, I am not feeling good.
So yeah, sidebar over. So yeah, free childcare. I fucks with that. A form of card check unionization would be enacted that certifies a union immediately after a majority of employees in a given workplace express their desire to do so. Talk about the single little issue that causes us not to want to vote for Joe Biden. Do we remember when he made the rail strikes illegal? In a cute little executive fucking...
Oh, he can do that real fast.
He can do that real fast. But codifying Roe v. Wade, ugh,
Too difficult. Can't get the hand.
it's bad for the economy. Yeah, a lot of people forget about that. It's one of those things that lives in my head rent free. Because he's a union buster, and then last year, he fucking was tweeting about how much he loved unions and was photo opping with union workers. Motherfucker expects us to have the same memory span as he does. Sure, my brain is made of a Swiss cheese trapdoor. But on shit that counts, I'm a steel trap. And I don't forget certain shit, and that's one of them. Immigrant workers who are fleeing horrific conditions caused largely by U.S. corporations and politicians should be given legal status and brought into unions so that solidarity prevails instead of a race to the bottom in wages. Back when a minimum wage was established, the whole premise was the minimum wage that a person can be paid so that they are able to live comfortably and have their needs met. Now it's the minimum wage that I'm legally required to give you. So if you work at a restaurant and you get tips, it's $2.13 an hour, bitch. Be nice to the customers that fucking hate you. With the hospitals and pharmaceutical companies under the control of the people, they would provide care for free. Oh, I forgot to say the other thing about Walmart. People during the beginning of the pandemic were taking photos of the empty shelves and stuff due to the supply chain being compromised due to COVID running rampant and saying, look guys, this is what socialism is doing. The horrors of socialism.
Suck.
So there's that.
It's rotten.
Daddy, chill.
A fucking joke. Right? Unfunny. I'm not laughing. Uh-oh. My blurb is covering the chat. I got it. And while I'm thinking of it, sorry guys, I gotta move it over here too. Okay. We're good. Okay. Killing it. Where's my Plinko? There it is. Hee hee. Alright, back to it. Evictions would be banned. And rent capped at no more than 10% of a person's income. Dude, I live in a duplex that was built in 1951 that upon moving in, my codependent people pleaser saw nothing wrong with this ass, had to sign a literal waiver acknowledging that there was lead paint on the walls. And if I grew a third eyeball or a fourth tit, yes, I said fourth, then it wouldn't be my landlord's fault because I was exposed to the lead paint, right? And moving out of here is a pipedream.com/hell no because of security deposits, credit checks, pet fees, and outrageous fucking prices that are like 250% of my income. So no, heart emoji. Wish I could move. Want to so fucking bad. Can't right now. Inflation would be eliminated with an across-the-board price freeze. All income and assets over $10 million would be subject to a 100% tax with no exceptions or loopholes, as would all offshore corporate profits. This last sentence just gave me a chubster. All debt from student loans, bail bonds, medical, and utility bills would be canceled. That was pretty tepid. That's actually.
My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I'd like to see you wiggle wiggle, for sure.
Now listen. Did our old buddy, Genocide Joseph, say that he was going to cancel student loans? He sure as fuck did. That's what got my ass into the voting poll booth place, along with other things, as we know. But this is not framed, in at least here, as a single dangly carrot promise. This is Socialism 101. This is laying the framework for how debts would work, how access to health care would work, child care, utilities, bail bonds, etc., right? So we love to see that shit. Next, overthrow the dictatorship of the rich. Build a democracy that serves the working class. Hunty. The United States needs a new system of government to replace the current one, designed to maintain the dictatorship of the billionaires over everyone else. The main tools the ultra-rich use to enforce this dictatorship would be abolished. Love that. This includes the Supreme Court, the Senate, and the banker-controlled Federal Reserve. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people are not aware of this, okay? Me too, Pickle. I died in a freak underwater basket weaving accident. I visited DC in like 2016 or something, 2016, for an audition. And I went to the fucking, what was it called? The Mint, where they printed money. I watched money get print. I'm so glad I'm telling y'all this. This is something that I always think of off stream, or that out of the moment, that I'm like, I need to make a TikTok about this. I need to talk about this. This was a turning point for me. This started radicalizing me to a degree about money and capitalism in general, right? So, watched a bunch of money get printed, went on a tour guide throughout the place, talking about how it was established, blah, 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 blah. I don't remember much of what was said, whatever. Of course, yes, thank you, the U.S. Mint. Peppermint flavored. Got to the end, of course, there was a gift shop, right? They were selling bags of shredded money. Okay? For hamster litter. To sit on your fucking shelf and be like, look, this little bag about this big is 500 shredded dollars and I bought it for $40. That was infuriating in and of itself in one thing, right? But what really got my goat, what was the point of them setting this up? Retrospectively. There was this big plastic cylinder tube up against the wall, about 8 or 10 feet tall, full of shredded money. And I really want to get the diameter right. It probably, I don't know, man. It was big, okay? There was $1 million shredded dollars in that tube. $1 million shredded dollars. 1 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 million shredd Right in front of my fucking face. With my own eyeballs. And that trip, I'm so fucking glad that I went, because looking back, that was a transformative moment for me. I said, oh, all right. Money is fake. Money is fake. I'm watching it be printed. I'm watching $100 bills be fucking printed. And they shred ones that don't pass the vibe check for whatever reason. They're misprints or whatever. Whatever. They're not legal tender or what the fuck ever. But isn't it hilarious? And by hilarious, I mean... enraging beyond earthly language. How much blood is shed for money? How much suffering? How much stress? How much scarcity? How much torture? Murder? Genocide, even. For the sake of the almighty dollar. Seeing a fucking tube of shredded $1 million shreds was the start of my fucking villain origin story, bitch. But a lot of people are like, wait a minute. Like some real, like, smoking weed for the first time energy, but I love the sentiment, right? So, like, hold up. Like, if we're poor and we don't have enough money circulating, why can't we just print more money? Wouldn't that be a viable option? Perhaps if the U.S. Mint weren't privately owned. The Federal Reserve is privately owned and controlled by bankers. Now, I do not know which ones. We'll see how long my spoons will allow us to go down this rabbit hole.
I'm fairly certain that when I watched a video about it when I was younger, you could trace it back to like
okay, the banks. So no one person owns it, but the stocks are controlled by the banks. So that's a very much more accurate way to put it. It's an oversimplification to be like, who owns the Federal Reserve? Of course, the Federal Reserve System website's going to be like, dun 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 dun. Yeah, yawn. Anyway, I'm going to have to read about that off stream. But yeah, it's controlled by banks. So, of course, it would be awesome to just print more money. Great stoner thought, great shower thought. Wish it was viable. It's not a can't type of thing. It's a won't type of thing. Continuing. Behind the fig leaf of democracy in America, there is an enormous apparatus of violence and surveillance aimed at repressing the people. The FBI and NSA would be disbanded, and mass incarceration would be replaced by a justice system aimed at rehabilitation and reintegration into the community. I don't remember where I read this or saw this or heard this recently in my research. Somewhere in one recent calendar year. I want to say it was 2020. Like, I'm talking like last 10 years. In one calendar year, there were over 10,000 incarcerations. And do you want to know the percentage of those that were for violent crimes? 4%. Actually, I think it was 3, but I'll round it up to 4. So what the fuck does that tell you? It tells me that the prison industrial complex is working as intended. Legal slavery. It's literally written into the Constitution. And of course, who is the most disproportionately affected by this? The black and brown communities. Communities that I am not a part of by any stretch of the imagination, but that I give a shit about. Hot take. Am I right, Democrats? So, I was watching like the world's hardest prisons, or like the world's toughest prisons or something a long ass time ago. And one of these fucking countries living in that actual 21st century, maybe, I don't know if it's Sweden or Switzerland, one of those. Something like that. Their prison systems are focused on rehabilitation and reintegration into society. And when they are serving their sentences, it is sort of treated like a rehabilitation sentence, so to speak. Not as a punishment. Of course, I don't know if this is across the board. I don't know how they treat murderers, like, you know. But if 96 to 97% of incarcerations in one calendar year in the U.S. were for nonviolent crimes, but they're all treated the same as if they're violent offenders, and then these people are blamed when they can't reintegrate back into society, or when these people are thrown or locked up and the key is swallowed by the guard and they're serving 30 years for having a sack of weed or something, and they've served so long in prison that they truly don't know how to cope with life outside of prison. That's why the recidivism rate is so high. Recidivism meaning the likelihood of a person who has committed a crime committing another crime. And in a lot of cases, it's so that they can end up back in a system that they're already familiar with and they know the ins and outs of, and that they can actually hack it in there, you know? And isn't that so fucked up? You know what else is fucked up? How we treat felons and ex-convicts and things like that, but also our veterans. Yesterday was Friday. I was going to go to the post office. It was fucking closed. Isn't that hilarious? But more importantly, our trash didn't get picked up. Our extremely full fucking trash can that we set out every Wednesday night like clockwork. And by we, I mean Pidge, because he's the realist. And they didn't come up my side of the street. And they do this often enough that I have the number saved in my fucking phone. So I was going to call and be like, hey, you guys didn't do fucking, the garbage bill that we pay for every month. You guys didn't come get it. So could you? I called 8 times. It was only on the 8th and final time that I listened to the automated voice call all the way through. And they were like, yeah, so we're going to be closed on Friday in observance of Veterans Day, which is the 10th. And I was like, isn't it the 11th every year? Like, what the fuck? And that's what I learned. They observe it on 2 days now, so that federal fucking and public works entities can have a little 3-day weekend. And isn't that super cute? That they'll do that, but they won't provide benefits to disabled veterans, and they won't do a motherfucking thing to fix the houseless disabled veteran population or address that at all. They will instead just make anti-loitering, hostile, architecture that discourages homeless people from existing in front of their business. Because heaven forbid, they're cold, they're hungry, they're thirsty, they need a place to sleep. God, this country sucks. The median income for a person in the United States is $31,000. Are you serious? It's a full circle moment for my villain origin story right now. But there's currently not a single member of Congress who has to experience this reality. Isn't that convenient and super cushy and dainty for them? Workers are fully capable of making the decisions and running the government. Workers already run everything else. With workers in charge, the rights of all people will finally be respected. We demand full equality for LGBTQ people in all areas of society, and national legislation banning discrimination at the workplace and in all public and private institutions. I learned about the Crown Act recently, which is it stands for creating a respectful and open world for natural hair. Against hair discrimination in the workforce and at school. Black people being sent home because their protective hairstyles are deemed unprofessional. White supremacy at its fucking finest. Right? And this happens to this very fucking day. Black women at work. I read stories all the fucking time of their white cohorts walking up to them and just touching their hair all of a sudden, or making a fucking comment about their hair. And I feel like something happened with this recently that was really infuriating. Like, it wasn't recognized in a state. I feel like it was Tennessee, which, shocker.com, where they ruled against protecting the Crown Act for their state. I'm going to have to fact check that and get back with y'all. But just discrimination of all forms. It's important. It's important to fucking nip that shit in the bud. None of us asked to be here. None of us asked to be born anywhere that we were born. None of us asked to be the race that we are, the gender that we are. So why do we make it so goddamn hard to exist if you weren't randomly born in a certain place or a certain gender or a certain color of skin? Riddle me the fuck that. That's funny. Pickle, yes. Present, company excluded. For now. Okay. But yeah, agree. Native sovereignty and self-determination should be fully recognized and treaty rights should be honored. Tweeted about this the other day. How a lot of Americans aren't ready for the conversation about how Israel treats Palestine and how U.S. colonists and settlers read pillagers, plunderers, and rapists with smallpox treated the indigenous community. Hi, Asina Metra. Welcome in. The whole world is watching colonization and genocide take place in real time. And a lot of Americans with cushy little 9-to-5s and cute little cars and a cute little house and a little dog and a little fucking spouse don't like to look at that shit. Don't like to learn about the realities of Columbus Day, of Thanksgiving, of July the 4th, of the Civil War, the reality of how we treat our veterans. And watching this happen draws some eerie parallels to the colonization that happens here in the U.S., that is still happening here. So to see this in someone's policy is a breath of fresh air. Dude. Okay. PJ and I started watching Drag Race about a year ago, and that meant that once we learned who, Eureka, Shangela, and Bob the Drag Queen were, we watched We're Here on HBO. And these 3 uber popular drag queens each had their own little bus, and they rode around, went to these small hillbilly bigot fucking towns. Not all hillbilly, but all bigot, or not small, or like underrepresented in some cases, and took three members of the community and put them in drag. And they hosted a drag show in their community and talked about inclusion. A lot of the people who they pulled to do the show were queer, and just teaching the public at large about drag. And one episode, god damn it, I can't remember where it was.
Was it in like New Mexico?
I think it was in New Mexico. Pueblo? New Pueblo?
That sounds familiar.
That sounds familiar, yes.
Sounds right.
Anyway, they visited an indigenous reservation, and they spoke. They took, 3 indigenous people from that community and put them in drag. But like, it's not just that. Like, they get to know these people, they visit their homes, they talk to their families. These people share their experiences about being marginalized in whatever capacity that they're marginalized. And god damn it, this episode lives rent-free in my fucking head. If you watch it, it is so invigorating, but be prepared to bawl your fucking eyes out, bitch. Like, I'm like welling up thinking about how just profound and impactful that television show is. It's coming out for another season. They got 4 drag queens this time, bitch. It's gonna be good. But anyway, Bob the drag queen was at a diner with their person and then their person's friends, including a drag queen who was like known and renowned in that area. And they were talking about how in indigenous culture, queer people were not only seen and allowed, but they were more than respected. They were revered. They were upheld. And they were so deeply loved and valued in their communities. Celebrated for who they are. Honored for who they are. Because they recognize the gifts that these people have, the creativity, the unique perspectives that they have to offer to the world. That episode fucking destroyed me, dude. It destroyed me in the best way. And it just like showed them like going through their town and like just their living conditions, dude, are absolutely deplorable. I think in this particular instance, they didn't even have a police force in their town. And they said that there's a lot of alcoholism and addiction in these communities. Because, I mean, shit. When your quality of life is all but subterranean and definitely objectively less than human in the eyes of the establishment, how the fuck are you supposed to cope with that? So I needed to share that because I think about it all the time, and it's so refreshing to see this in plain language. Farmington, New Mexico. Yes. Thank you, baby. That's exactly where it was. Episode number and season. Baby, could you find that out for us? Hi, Doug. Good morning. Good morning. You're just in time. Thank you, baby. Season 1, episode 4. We're Here on HBO Max. The generational trauma is real. Is real. And, you know, is carried down epigenetically. And yeah. Sorry, gotta clean my glasses. All right. We want to turn the social order upside down and topple those who have all the money and power, but do none of the work. The new socialist system of government would be based on the direct exercise of power by workers. What the fuck? Sorry. I got some of my fucking glasses. It's when your tears dry on your glasses and it makes that little fogged glass little effect, that little dot. If you know, you know. A true democracy encourages the proliferation of many types of organizations: youth climate corps, neighborhood associations, student groups, unions, civic organizations, and views organizations as instruments for people to identify problems and take action together. Does that sound like the current system that we're under right now? that has us all by the short hairs to say vote for 46 because at least he's not 45. Womp womp. Next. End the rule of money and lock up the corrupt elite. Bribery in America is a legal, recognized industry called corporate lobbying. This practice must be outlawed, and all politicians should be subject to a ban on serving on any corporate board or holding an executive position of any type at a private company after leaving office. Jesus! That's what I'm fucking talking about. All Wall Street bailouts would end immediately. Similarly, millionaires and billionaires should no longer be allowed to buy elections through lavish donations. I watched a video on this the other day. Some more news. Thank you so much, Pickle. Talking about loopholes that they have written in place that allow super PACs to form. I already told y'all this in the last video, but in 2010, $55 million in the U.S. was spent on campaigning and lobbying. And in 2016, a short 6 years later, that number went from 55 mil with an M to 1.1 billion with a B dollars for the same fucking thing. Legal question mark? Why? All campaigning should be publicly financed, and the different loopholes like super PACs that billionaires use. Did not see this before. I told you that. And the different loopholes like super PACs that billionaires use to get around donation limits should be immediately closed. No notes. Under democracy by the workers, war criminals and Wall Street con men would be locked up. Looking at you, 45. Finally brought to justice for their monstrous crimes against the people. Corruption is a bipartisan issue for the ruling class. People like Hunter Biden and Jared Kushner alike abuse their positions of power to secure lucrative sources of income and flout the law. I'm thinking about that 2.2 bill that Mr. Kushner got from Saudi Arabia for playing golf good. Some members of the ultra-rich grow even wealthier by facilitating the crimes of others, like JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon. That's not a name. Jamie Dimon. Dimon Dozen. Whose bank counted Jeffrey Epstein among its clients. That's super cute. The wrong people are in jail. Instead of incarcerating millions of poor people caught in desperate situations, remember, 10,000 incarcerations in one calendar year, only 3% for violent crimes. The math's not mathin'. The ones who should be held to account are the corrupt capitalists. Next. Cut the military budget by 90%. Military budget. Peace, not war, with China and Russia. The war is headed towards a catastrophic, unprecedented conflict because of the unmitigated aggressiveness and recklessness of the politicians and Pentagon generals. The new Cold War against China and Russia must end. Damn it, stop yawning. Soft palate raised. Along with associated aggression like the proxy war in Ukraine, massive military shipments to Taiwan, or any and all military buildup against any targeted nation, Palestine. Period. By way of Israel, funded by the US and the UK. The vast network of military bases the Pentagon maintains in other countries should be immediately closed. America, get your fucking hands out of everybody's pie. Jesus fuck. We demand the abolition of the NATO military alliance and AFRICOM. United States Africa Command. Hello? Okay, ew. I need an about. I need a TLDR. Come on. Well, a white dude in a place he shouldn't be. Sounds about right. Sounds about white. Anyway, cruel economic sanctions imposed on countries around the world, including Cuba, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, Eritrea, North Korea, and Iran must be lifted. All U.S. aid to apartheid Israel must immediately end. I don't know about y'all, but I don't think our tax dollars should be going towards blowing up Palestinian children, Palestinian humans, collectively punishing an entire population. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I've said this out loud yet. Did I? To Pidge, yeah, but not on stream. The IDF has publicly come out with this. This is not a conspiracy. I do not have a tinfoil hat on. They have said this themselves. That the night of October 7th, when that attack took place, that they were firing on their own civilians because it was dark outside and it was hard to tell who was a terrorist and who wasn't. That is a paraphrasing of their fucking words. And that most of the casualties of that night of October 7th, the singular event that they're using to justify a mass genocide and displacement of people who have been there since Jesus Christ walked this fucking earth, most of those casualties were caused by the IDF. The call is coming from inside the house. Color me shocked. Right? But anyway, we're funding that shit. And it needs to stop. The CIA should be abolished and its secrets exposed so the world knows the true extent of this agency's crimes. This is causing just so much brain wormholes to open in my mind. I have so much reading to do, so much learning to do. I'm interested in learning more about what I don't know that they're saying. You know, like the extent of the CIA's crimes. I need to know more about that. The approximately $1 trillion that the U.S. taxpayers spend every year on war should instead be spent to address the dire crises facing working people. The price of key goods, especially gas, could be dramatically lowered if the suffocating economic sanctions of the U.S. government imposes on countries around the world were lifted. Humanity needs a world order based on cooperation and peace, not domination and war. Just because it's how something has always been doesn't mean that it's how something should always be. Thumbing through some of the comments on my latest TikTok. This is just ridiculous. Name a time in U.S. history where a third-party candidate won. I don't know if you know this, little dog, but everything that's ever happened had to happen for the first time. The first time it happened.
You remember that story I was telling you about lighthouse keepers?
The story you were telling me about lighthouse keepers?
Yeah. Remember I said, there was this guy and his wife was working with him and he died and she had to take over the lighthouse duty. This was in like the late 1700s, early 1800s. Thomas Jefferson was in the White House. And she wrote to Jefferson being like, hey, my husband's dead, but I know how to do this work, and I do it well. I just need you to make me the person who is the lighthouse keeper, like officially, or maybe give me like $30 more a year. And he said, I don't know if our nation is ready for a woman to be a lighthouse keeper.
Laughs in lifetime of being a woman and hearing these stories and how none of them are new, but that doesn't mean they're not fucking infuriating. Yeah. The wife of a lighthouse keeper, upon her husband's death, wanted to take over the job and was met with, I don't know, you're a woman.
What do you know about keeping lights?
What the hell do you know about watching a lighthouse twirl in a clockwise or counterclockwise fashion? I don't know what direction it is. Have y'all seen The Lighthouse, starring Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson?
The only reason I started looking this shit up.
Good movie. Oh, KB, be spitting them motherfucking facts right here. Let me read this.
Oh, Jesus. Gross.
Misogynists love to talk about how Women have never contributed anything, but then have no response to who kept them from contributing.
How
Yep.
cute. How quaint.
Isn't that cute?
What a gorgeous little thing you've said.
Gorgeous sentiment is that? All right. Yeah. Oh, one of the I don't want to feel like I'm saying something on the screen, so I'm not. There's a post on Reddit that went around at some time. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Asking women if men... Ooh, let me put the music back on. If men disappeared safely, unharmed, they weren't dying or in need or anything, but it just poof for 24 hours, safely in the limbo of Mancaverton or whatever. Hypothetical, of course. What would be the first thing that you did? And overwhelmingly, the most popular common response was something to the effect of exist in public at night. Go for a walk at night. Go for a nighttime run. Walk home from work instead of having to pay $50 for an Uber because I work at the bar until 2. So there's that. And then, you know, you've got the fucking potato chip Chadleys, my least favorite kind of chip, in the comments saying things like, well, if all the men disappeared, who would protect you? Protect us from what? Quickly! Protect us from who? Yeah, that's what I fucking thought. So yeah. I don't know why I landed there, but we fucking landed there. All right, next. End the war on Black America. Yes. The struggle for Black freedom brought millions of people into the streets in 2020. Polly, putting a pin in we'll start this over. Whenever I've been confronted by a man in public, it's other women who stepped in to help, not men. Isn't that telling? Isn't it almost like we have to, out of necessity, develop a creepdar? And that when we see a woman who we don't even know being physically uncomfortable by a man's presence who's just breathing his stank breath all over us, and, you know, telling a man no, could potentially be punishable by death right then and there. Women often will step in and be like, oh my God, Stacy! Hey girl, bitch! I haven't seen you since sophomore year of undergrad. Oh my God, how are you? Let's take a fucking selfie or something. Like, let's walk you to your car. Let me take you home. Like, I'm reminded of that Black woman this summer who... Sorry, y'all. My fucking nose ring is loose. I promise I'm not picking my nose. It's just heavy in it. This Black woman was existing in public. First of all, the audacity, right? And was approached by a man who was trying to hit on her, get her number or something. And she said no. And he responds by hitting her in the face with a fucking brick. It was at a bus stop or near a bus or something, you said?
Because, like, it was a route he knew to find her on.
What?
Because he had a fucking...
PJ knows more about this than I do. So this just wasn't a random encounter, apparently.
No,
It was a bus stop route, like public transport, and he knew her routine, and he premeditated this because he had a brick!
Right. Like, you don't just carry a fucking brick around, right?
How you gonna carry a brick around? Oh, it gets worse, Pickle. Mahiro, it gets worse. He starts beating her ass and hitting her with a brick. And a group of men just stood there and watched. And there's a lot to unpack there alone. First of all, fucking racist motherfuckers. You can be not white and still be racist. You can be a woman and still be misogynistic. So, like, the race of the men who stood there and watched is irrelevant in my opinion, because obviously flagrant misogyny as well. Not seeing black women as people, dismissing black women's pain, which has been done for fucking centuries. One of my mutuals on TikTok, her name's Coyote Annie, went viral this summer, or maybe it was last year. I don't remember. It might have been about Roe. And Coyote Annie is white. She said, why didn't we listen to black women? Because black women have been warning us about the descent into fascism, the overturning of Roe v. Wade, all of this stuff, right? But we don't listen. Society doesn't listen. Because society is most occupied with upholding white supremacy. And black women have to fucking pay attention. Because more often than not, they exist at the most intersectionalities. Like, especially if they're queer, disabled. I'm thinking about Imani Barbarin, Crutches and Spice. She talks about this shit all the fucking time. I love her so much. But just by and large, black women's lived experiences are not seen as real, as valid, as viable. So when that woman was getting the shit beat out of her with a brick and these men just stood around and watched, the question becomes, if that woman was white, would that have unfolded differently? And while I can't say for sure, I can venture a fucking guess. Mahiro, yes. Malcolm X once said that the most disrespected person in America is the black woman. Yep. I'm thinking of, it might be Beyonce that has a sample of that speech in a song. A black artist. I don't remember if it's her. But yes. Also, another YouTuber, if you want to watch, talk about blackness, talk about black culture, deconstructing white supremacy, is FD Signifier on YouTube. He is incredible. His videos are similarly fucking infuriating. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some neurospiciness going on. Absolutely. So poignant, so incredibly learned and passionate and patient and extremely, extremely intelligent. And I fucking love his channel, dude. So please, if you are wanting to learn more about this, it was Lemonade was the album. Not to be one of those, but Lemonade was the name of the album. I just can't remember the song. But anyway, it might have been the beginning of Formation But yes, the most, in the words of Malcolm X, the most disrespected person in America is the black woman. And you see incidents like that woman that got beaten up by the brick, and you see why. The aftermath of that was equally infuriating because especially these men, these white dudes, were going online, scrubbing through her social media to try to find her just existing and being happy or being silly or clapping back to a guy or twerking, and was like, well, pointing at her humanity and her humanness and using that as a justification for getting the shit beat out of her because she had the unmitigated gall to tell a man no. Get the fuck out of here. All right. Great segue into this. End the war on Black America. The struggle for Black freedom brought millions of people into the streets in 2020 in the most massive social movement in U.S. history. This enormous uprising was an outraged response to the fact that a war has been waged on Black America from the very foundation of the country. From slavery to segregation to systemic racism, including decades of neoliberalism and mass incarceration that have left the country even more unequal and segregated. Reparations and the rebuilding of Black communities are essential to fully address the consequences of this war. The seizure of the 100 largest corporations, many of which historically profited from slavery, will provide ample resources for cash payments, along with huge investments in services and infrastructure. I 100% encourage y'all to look up the two following things. The Tulsa Race Massacre that took place in May into June 1921, and oh, okay. Well, here's a documentary on the Wilmington Massacre of 1898, Wilmington on Fire. I'm going to have to watch that. These are two instances in which Black communities after the Civil War began to, after Reconstruction and settling down elsewhere, began to thrive. You had Black business owners, Black investors, Black wealth in these places. Not just Tulsa and Wilmington. These are two examples that are like seared into my mind, but they're far from the only ones. If you want to deconstruct white supremacy, colonialism, and the true war on Black America that has existed for fucking 400 years, those are two great places to start. Because when I tell you that those cities were burned to the fucking ground because how dare Black people have nice things, that's a gross oversimplification, but it's so fucking important to learn about that stuff. And I'm pulling knowledge out of my mind as I'm reminded of these things when I'm reading this. I wish I had something more poignant and articulate to say about those in this exact moment. If y'all would like, I am more than happy to compile some information about these things, the Tulsa Massacre and the Wilmington Massacre of 1898, and give a presentation for you. Of course, I'm a white person. I'm learning about this from from an outside perspective, but I'm still more than happy to use my platform to teach y'all about this. But I don't want to replace Black voices who talk about this all the time. I'm sure the FD Signifier has talked about this in some capacity and references it often. But yeah. Hi, Atlas. Hey, you're right on time, and I hope you got some good sleep. Good morning. Good morning to you at 6 p.m. You're doing great. I need to take a fucking inhaler puff, y'all. Sorry. Asthma be like.
Trying to breathe over there.
I know. How rude of me to try to breathe. How dare I? Okay. Along with reparations, we stand for a wide range of measures to comprehensively uproot the oppression of Black people. Affirmative action programs should be expanded, not shredded by unelected judges. Affirmative action was overturned on June 29th of this year. Affirmative action, of course, protecting racial discrimination in the workforce and in schools and the like. And I remember that date because it literally was the date that my NBC News interview about Colleen Ballinger was set to air. And I watched it for 2 hours leading up to that
One
point.
does not simply choose to be a potato. You are indoctrinated like a religion. But once you go potato, there is no return.
Dev Archaic, welcome to the Tater Shit Show. Thank you so much for the follow. I'm glad you're here. Yeah. Damn, my box is so small. I don't remember what I was just saying. Well, yeah.
Affirmative action, Colleen Ballinger.
Yeah. The Colleen Ballinger segment. The special news report that affirmative action was overturned happened during that segment, and it's an extremely important event, but the timing of the segment was just horrific. 0 out of 10. All right, back to it. Cops responsible for racist brutality should be given long prison sentences as an unmistakable signal that the era of impunity is over. There's no doubt in my mind that on paper they can say that they don't fucking discriminate, but we know that 97% of 10,000 incarcerations during one recent calendar year were for non-violent crimes, disproportionately brown and Black individuals, largely for like simple possession or petty larceny or non-violent shit, right? Well, TB fucking H. First of all, hi, ACAB. Don't know if I've said that lately on this channel, if ever, but that should be a fucking given. Fuck 12, right? Because why would an institution that was literally originated to round up escaped slaves and referred to as the Slave Patrol, in which white men on horses patrolled the streets to look for Black slaves to send back to their masters, is now what is known as the police force today. Period. And that's not my opinion, folks.
That's history.
Oh my God, with the extra punctuation. Okay. I had a really, really good article on this saved in my phone a long time ago. I'm going to have to compile some resources and put in the Potatum Hub about all the shit that we talked about today, about the Tulsa Massacre, about the Wilmington Massacre, about Slave Patrol, about all of this shit. I'm gonna have to watch back and fucking take notes on my own shit and get this stuff together for y'all. Because it's one thing for me to just tout and talk about how much capitalism bad and anything else would be a fresh welcome. I need to give y'all resources for y'all to learn about the stuff on your own time, because it's so important. Deconstructing this is so important. I want to say, okay, I pulled it from a Black creator on TikTok whose name also escapes me because my brain is made of Swiss cheese. But I think it was on history.com or something like that. I have 83 tabs currently saved on my phone. That's a pretty low number. Let me see if it's on up here. Oh, we talked about, yep, the silencing women through psychiatry. We covered that one on stream. The John Rich stuff, okay, getting closer. Getting closer. Nicolas Cage? No. James Baldwin. Getting closer. Is this it? No. Man, I got some good shit in here, though, that I need to cover. Damn. Bunch of autistic stuff, autistic resources. Oh, yeah, I don't have it. I'm going to have to look it up. All right. Here we go. Back to this. Okay, yes. The era of impunity is over. I know, my tabs are usually in the triple digits, but my phone is old and just can't pull those kind of numbers anymore, you know? Yeah, that's Bush League. That's weak sauce. We want to stop the whitewashing of U.S. history under the guise of bans on critical race theory, of course, the new Republican buzzwords, not realizing that critical race theory in and of itself is not being taught to fucking kindergartners, MTG. It's a postgraduate fucking honors course. All young people should understand the horrors of white supremacy and develop an appreciation for why racism must be eradicated from society. Period. The transformation of the country's healthcare system must include as a top priority sweeping action to eliminate the huge disparity in maternal mortality rates for Black women. Those rates have fucking skyrocketed, mind you, since the overturn of Roe v. Wade on June 24th, 2022. That's just a portion of the aftermath that we're seeing. States in the South, the Deep South, I believe Mississippi is one of them, are known as, there's a term for it. Not fertility. Essentially a doctor desert, gynecological deserts, in that these laws are so stringent now and so severe that these doctors don't want to lose their licenses, so they don't practice in that state anymore. Period. And people who have the capacity to give birth in Mississippi don't have that access anymore. So that's fucking terrifying, right? Also, talk about it all the time. Women and minorities, including Black women, were not required in the U.S. to be included in clinical research until Congress passed the NIH Revitalization Act on June 10th, 1993. You want to guess why we weren't required to be included? Money. Yeah, women are just too complicated and expensive to figure out. So what we can do is just call them crazy, hook them up to a fucking torture-looking device and masturbate them to completion to cure their hysteria. Once I learned that shit, it made a lot of fucking things make sense. Coming from my own world as a late discovered autistic person with ADHD and my own hellish experience with not being believed by doctors, how that experience is so much fucking worse when you're not white. Hysteria does, yes, mean womb in Greek. Literally. Yes. Isn't that Uptown fuck you up news? Yes. Okay. It Uptown fucked me right on up. Defend women's rights and full equality for LGBTQ people. Abortion should be available without restrictions and provided for free so that women have the right to control their own bodies. Watched a video from Some More News about this today, about abortion. The video came out on June 29th, 2022. they said that the day that they were filming for that video, Roe v. Wade got overturned. And they brought up a good point that I think of a lot, but they put it in a concise way that stuck in my head. You would think that such a pro-life party, pro-life, anti-uterus haver, anti-choice, and pro-forced birth. God damn it. My lungs are kicking my ass. I'm not even smoking.
I know.
Let me think. Okay. You would think that such a pro-life party that wants to save every baby, asterisk, every white baby that's not born yet. What did Carlin say? Carlin has a great bit on this. If you're pre-born, you're fine, but if you're preschool, you're fucked. Yeah. We only care about theoretical white fetuses until they're born. But if they're poor, I don't give a fuck. If they're brown or black, I give even less of a fuck. You'd think that these people would be all for sex education and, you know, access to health care so that people aren't forced to live under potentially horrific conditions. Isn't that funny? No one moves a goalpost quite like a conservative. Talking to a conservative, bitch, I might as well talk to this. I did talk to this while I was sewing it. We had like a telepathic thing going. I was like, you're going to pull through, buddy. You're going to be fine. Okay. You're going to look almost like brand new. I did surgery on it recently. But anyway, goalpostmover.com. You want babies to be born no matter what? Okay. How about let them eat lunch for free at school? No handouts! Hell no!
That's something that's free.
All right. How about access to adequate health care and goods and services? Hell no! I ain't no socialist. What is this, China? And then they just go off an off-the-rails argument that doesn't even fucking make sense from their point of view. These people are so ludicrous and outrageous. It's like, do you even believe what you're saying?
No.
Anyway.
And
they know they don't. The Supreme Court's 2022 Dobbs decision was a historic blow to equal rights, but the court could not have done it with this next sentence. I wish I had in my pocket earlier today. I wish I had this in my pocket every time I tried to talk to a blue wave, vote blue no matter who Democrat about how the reason I voted for Joseph Robinette Biden was that he dangled that codified carrot in my fucking face. And then Roe v. Wade was overturned under his watch. Well, he didn't appoint the justices that did it. That was Orange Man, and Orange Man bad. This decision, the court could not have done this without the help of decades of passivity on the part of the Democratic Party. Oh my God. The Democrats refused to take any of the many opportunities they had, including the period between the 2020 and 2022 elections. Did I not say that on the last stream, people? It's like I wrote this shit. I didn't. To pass a law at the federal level legalizing abortion. It's that easy, Biden sympathizers. Hand him a fucking pen. And yet. We need such legislation immediately, along with other measures to ensure abortion services are available on demand regardless of income. Let me scroll up real quick on the chat. Let me see what Atlas said. Atlas, Are you spitting? Are you spitting some fucking facts? Yes, you are. They want us to be born so we can produce labor and value for them. But when it comes to viewing us as mechanical parts, we're expendable. Every one of us can be replaced for any job that isn't being yourself in an instant. No notes. No notes. Coming from an intersectional lens of being disabled and growing up in and out of poverty and still poor as fuck, I wrote a piece on Medium, and I will find it and link it right now. It is on my beacons. So check my hub. This is my Linktree hub, right? Took up writing this summer as an outlet because why not? You scroll down, right here it is. No, it's exclamation point Linktree. Yes, thank you, baby. Capitalism was always meant to die. And the only quote, the quote that you made me think of is in this. I can't fucking find it, but like, read it, okay? Please read it. If you're vibing with any of this, please read that. But essentially, you know, once our bodies are unable to be exploited to drive up profits and revenue for the ultra wealthy, we are as good as dead in the US because SSDI, which is Social Security Disability Insurance, getting that in the US is, I refer to it as the unfunniest joke ever written because in my home state of Virginia, the average SSDI monthly payment, mind you, there are some that are far, far less than this, is $1,200 a month. And yet the average cost of rent in Virginia is $1,400 a month. So systemically, disabled people are discouraged from existing. It is a form of eugenics. Systemic eugenics. I have to sneeze. Thank you. But yes. Anyway. Abortion available on demand regardless of income. I love that sentence would just send Republicans into a tizzy. Abortion on demand? These mothers can walk up hand in hand with their child that's preschool age and walk up to a red box outside of a Walgreens and get them aborted. These motherfuckers don't realize that 93% of abortions take place before the first 13 weeks of pregnancy. In the first trimester. Now, I know that's a big word for Elmo. Trimester refers to the roughly 3-month periods of gestation of pregnancy. And the second trimester begins, I believe, at 14 weeks, 14 or 15. So all of these Tim Pool, Matt Crowder, Stephen Walsh, they all fucking are white dudes with weak chins and big bushy beards to hide them. We know what's under there. It's okay to have a weak chin, but not if it's you having it, you know, because you're a dick. These people are moral panicking and fear-mongering and making people think that women are getting abortions once per week at 8 months. Tim Pool literally tweeted recently, and I know because I saw this video about abortion from some more news. So what happens when a woman who's 8 months pregnant walks up to a fucking abortion clinic and wants to get an abortion for their 8-month-old baby, but they actually give birth to the baby before the abortion can take place?
That beanie's cutting off circulation, that man's brain.
Huh. Brother, when's the last time you drank a bottle of water?
Last time you wash that pee.
Brother, your piss looks like gasoline. I have no doubt in my mind. Why don't you put the phone down? Go for a fucking walk. Because what the fuck did you just say? There's no such thing as an 8-month abortion. The other 7% of abortions that occur later than the first trimester occur in the second trimester, when the pregnancy is found out to be ectopic or non-viable or presents a significant health risk to the parent, to the person who is carrying that pregnancy. I gotta fucking read y'all's chats. Whiskey, I am so glad that you're writing again. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for tapping into your creativity and allowing yourself that space to express. Like, I am millions of percent more articulate via writing because of sensory processing delay. I can look back and be like, is that what I wanted to say? No, let me tweak it. Let me revise it. Existing live is a big hurdle for me because my mouth can only say certain things at a time, even though I have 6 simultaneous swirling thoughts that are spiderweb tree branch shaped, you know? And even in my writing, I can only get out so much, but I can get out a hell of a lot more than if I'm just talking. And I'm so glad that you have that too. I'm so proud of you. Yeah, the new speaker. Don't get me started on Mike Human Vulture Johnson. He looks like every used car salesman that I ever used to fucking work with. Low-key postnatal abortion is a sick metal band name. Band name called it. Band name called it. Yes. Yes, exactly. Many of the remaining, like, single-digit % of abortions that take place after the first trimester are due to severe fetal abnormalities and or medical necessity. Asina Metro reminds me of that conservative straw man about the pregnant person going into labor in Ohio, lighting up a joint, and asking for the abortion while the baby is crowning, please. First of all, mood. First of all, a vibe. Please. 8th trimester. Holy fuck. Y'all are killing me.
Oh my god! Oh shit!
Alright, I'm right. We're back. The epidemic of violence against women must be addressed as a top priority of society. Come on, nose ring. Get your shit together, Carol. This can only be achieved through a comprehensive approach involving programs to help women leave abusive situations, an end to impunity for crimes committed against women. Thank you. Yes, very that. And cultural campaigns to uproot sexist attitudes. The Constitution must finally include a provision guaranteeing equal rights for women. Yes. These motherfuckers, for years, when my autistic ass was an itch in the craw of a system from a very young age, because my favorite question was, why? Crystal, I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so sorry you're not feeling well. And I hope you can get some rest and feel better, please. I demand it. All right. Sexist attitudes. So, I tweeted about this candidate, Claudia De La Cruz. That's the pinned comment in my chat, votesocialist2024.com. It's the website we're on. I posted about this candidate with a photo of her and her running mate, Karina Garcia. And this fucking dude named Neil Because isn't it always? Said, first of all, you must be new here. Because I know you did not comment this under my post. But you did. Oh, he might have blocked me. Here it is. Oh, update. You see that little text right there? This post has been deleted. Screenshots are forever. I have it right here, you sexist pig. Neil. She looks hot. Wouldn't kick her out of bed. Laugh emoji, laugh emoji, laugh emoji. Doubt she talks any sense, mind you. So, I said, screenshot. And I'm doing this new thing now where I'm quote tweeting the person so y'all can fucking do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? But I'm also screenshotting it because once I get blocked, because these people hate being called out publicly, they think that I'm not a person and they can just throw a flaming bag of shit on my porch and expect me not to fucking return it to sender. But anyway, I said, not a sexist comment in 2023 reducing a woman to her looks and disregarding her intellect entirely. How embarrassing for you. The original post is about Claudia de la Cruz, a socialist candidate I endorse. See original post for more info. Neil, unfucking follow me. Right? So later that day, he said this. I've decided to spend the next week saying or writing a few wrong things. Tell a few inappropriate jokes or comments. I get criticism from people with no sense of humor anyway. Oh boy. And I just realized that he responded to... Okay, Jesus. Muting my shit is a peaceful and a relief, but when I go back in and I see some more clutter, I'm just like, oh my God. So I put screenshot of that, put it under my original post about him. I said, my man, misogyny isn't funny. If that's the only card in your deck, you need to look inward because you've got some closets full of sexist clutter to unpack. Take this interaction as a lesson. Don't be a tasteless prick. And he said, like an hour later, I just never saw it. I am just surprised you are still going on about this. Why are you still following me? Screenshot. The symbols, laugh emoji, laugh emoji, laugh emoji, laugh emoji, are usually the sign of a, all caps, joke. Try to read the room better. XX Neil. Y'all are watching me compose a tweet in real time. This is just what we're doing now. Okay. Took the screenshot, gotta crop it for readability purposes, right? Apply. You're goddamn right. I'm still going on about this. Because you trespassed into my comments section. I should say, replies. And you clearly must be new here. I am reading this out loud on stream as we speak. And let's just say that you are not passing the vibe check. Also in all caps, why are you still following me? Post. All right. Last but not least. Fuck you, Neil. Fuck you right in your sexist fucking face. Actually, no, I know you would love that. I wouldn't touch you with a 39.5-foot pole. Save the planet from capitalism. On a lighter note. To deal with the Nickelodeon. To deal with the disastrous effects of the climate crisis, society must urgently transform the way we produce energy, grow food, and move around the world. The main obstacle standing in our way is private profit. Please, with the burps. And the system that values quarterly revenue over the survival of human civilization. No notes. We can only take action at the scale and speed necessary to save the planet if the unplanned capitalist economic system is replaced by socialist economic planning. Fossil fuel corporations should immediately be taken over by the public and repurposed to generate renewable energy. Oh my god, bitch. Get it together. Capitalist agriculture is enormously wasteful, especially when it comes to water resources. So, also food. I was watching some more news. Pickle. I watch it all the time, brother. What have you done to me? About the food industry and all of the waste that goes into it. In the U.S., every year, grocery stores, restaurants, wholesalers, out of all the food that is produced in the United States, you want to guess the percentage of that goes to waste? I'll do an inhaler puff and let y'all venture some guesses. The percentage of food that is wasted every year in the United States, as in thrown away, thrown out, deemed too ugly to be sold in the grocery stores because it has a bruise on it or is a different color of pepper. What's the percentage? We're back. 40%. 40. Percent. But we can't afford to give kids free lunch. Isn't it weird that we have all of this excess? At the end of my article, Capitalism Was Always Meant to Die, I have the exact numbers there. I can't remember. I believe it's something like 300 and some thousand houseless people in this country, and there are 16 million vacant houses. Out of all the food that's produced, 40% of it is considered waste. Isn't it hilarious and super cute that poverty, hunger, and houselessness are manufactured products of capitalism? And I say that shit all the time. We talk about this constantly, y'all. I'm not pulling it out of my ass. Let's finish this. Holy shit, we've been going a long time. New record for a while, I think, for this channel. All right. The vast land holdings and technological resources available to the agribusiness corporations would be seized and turned over to farmers who would implement a democratically determined plan to reorganize food production on a sustainable basis. Public transportation will be massively expanded with a fleet consisting entirely of electric vehicles, and the huge scale of this undertaking will ensure that no auto worker will lose their job. Massive infrastructure projects need to begin immediately to make society more resilient to the changing climate while creating millions of good-paying jobs. All right, this is the last little bit I'll read. So we're starting to wind down. Attention, Tater Mart shoppers. The stream will be ending in, 15 minutes? We'll see. Why we need to build a socialist movement. Every issue dealt with in this platform and every injustice working people experience in society boils down to the question of who has power. Did I already read this? No. Under the current capitalist system, a tiny handful of ultra-wealthy bankers and corporate executives have the power and will to do anything to maintain it. I have read this paragraph earlier. I know I did. We stand for socialism, a system where poor and working people hold political and economic power and use it to meet the needs of all people and to preserve the planet. Anybody watch Captain Planet growing up? How the fuck did people expect us to not be radicalized and give a fuck about the environment? Surprise, surprise. So many problems could be solved by measures that are common sense to any worker but are unthinkable under the rule of the billionaires. What was his fucking name? Mr. At a Billionaire Retreat, Disney, Bob Iger, saying that what the workers are asking for is super unreasonable. You want to zoom out on that camera that's got you interviewed, buddy? How many fucking yachts and private jets are you surrounded by? Redacted the rich, okay? Humanity is hurtling off the tracks towards massive existential crises. Climate catastrophe, massive job losses due to unmanaged artificial intelligence, and war between the U.S. and other nuclear-armed powers. The capitalist government has no answers to these crises and is in fact driving them forward, acting as a servant for the big banks, big tech, big oil, and the military-industrial complex. In every crisis that the people face, whether it's hurricanes, wildfires, or pandemics, thank you for finally saying something about the pandemic. Pin. I don't agree with every single word that we've read tonight. I think I need to do more research on these candidates in particular, but my fucking God, there's no contest.
Yeah, this is a completely different type of candidate than what we've been conditioned to.
Yes, Pidge said this is a different type of candidate than we've been conditioned to want or need or ask for. But please, 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 I need for these people to talk about the pandemic, talk about how it's not over. I would love to try to reach out somehow. I'm going to try to write to her, and I feel like Biden would tell me to go fuck myself. All of my state representatives told me to go fuck myself while wearing a mask. So I feel like she would be at least willing to, read the whole message instead of glaze over at the word COVID. But still, it's so important and so pertinent still. The government has proven itself to be totally inept and to only care about profit. They can't steer us away from crises because they are a part of them. True. The government made concessions in 2020 to prevent the system from collapsing, which actually helped people. A moratorium on all evictions and utility shutoffs, suspended student debt payments, expanded Medicaid, expanded unemployment assistance and stimulus checks, among other things, right? But instead of extending these measures, it rushed to immediately eliminate them. And now housing, public health, and debt are in even worse shape than before. So, yep. Student debt payments were suspended for over 3 years, and the rich still got richer. They ain't hurting for money. They ain't missing it. Fuck Joe Biden. 58% of the country I feel like I've heard it's 64%. But at any rate, it's the majority of the country is living paycheck to paycheck. The cost of everything has skyrocketed, and the 10 richest men have doubled their fortunes. But both parties are saying that nothing can be done, that this is just how the economy works. It hurts nobody, it helps everybody. It's the economy. Wow. That's a lie. The resources exist to resolve the problems humanity faces. The only things that stand in the way are the politicians that manage affairs for the billionaires who generate super profits from workers all over the globe. In case I haven't said it on stream lately or ever, record profits are just wage theft. Period. Period. Paragraph. Done. Messina Metro. Oh, buddy. Oh, Lord. Any sentence that begins in all caps with "oh, buddy," I'm like, oh, God, what do we got? I just visited that unfunny sexist's Twitter page. His recent media, horrifying. Color me agog. Color me aghast. You know. Whew. All right, fine. I'll look. Okay. My curiosity. I know. I need to know because this is a journey that we've been on stream this evening. Right? Oh! Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, he's from England. Oh, I didn't know that he was not a 20-something because he's got the fluffy duck butt hair.
That's because he's been styling himself after Gordon.
Sigh. Media. Do I even want to know? Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, Yep.
Can you shut the fuck up?
Goodbye. Where am I? Instead of a tiny clique of billionaires and hedge funds running and deciding everything, the diverse working class needs to control the commanding heights of the economy and come up with long-term plans to get out of the mess they created. Only a revolution, not an election, can end the rule of the billionaires once and for all, but this program shows how we can get started. And I will say that this is a hell of a start to a step in a direction that this country has never seen before. I'm aware, Potato Chip Chadley's in my fucking comments, that it's never happened before. Things don't happen until they happen. And then once they happen for the first time, they've happened. I just saw a Plinko thing go and then miss.
Oh, yeah, there it goes. Oh.
Yeah. KB, no notes. Elections work to perpetuate the system. We want to break it down. Oh, we fucking talked at length in the beginning of this stream and deconstructed a harrowing conversation, viewpoint of a essentially vote blue no matter who communist who admitted that the goal isn't to better humanity or get us out of the oppressive rat race, but that the GOP needs to lose. Sing another fine new material, you know, like, please. But at any rate, votesocialist2024.com if you want to get even more info on Claudia De La Cruz and Karina Garcia. You can sign up to volunteer. They have merch that's cute and inexpensive. Yeah, it's time for capitalists to fucking lose. How about that? I agree. Now listen, I'm not telling y'all what to do. I'm not telling y'all how you should exercise your right to vote. All I am doing is presenting my opinion as a loud disabled content creator, intersectional activist, and notorious bitch that I'm allowed to express. And if you vibe with that, then this is the shit that I'm on. And this is the shit that I read about, learn about, talk about. And I'm sharing that information and passing it on to you. I will say that voting for Joe Biden to maintain the status quo so the orange man doesn't get it because orange man bad, it's not going to do fucking anything. But yeah, we'll be worse under Trump. Of course. But you all are remiss. I'm talking to the blue wave bitches right now. Okay, y'all are cool. Y'all are chill. Y'all over here, I like y'all. You can't vote your way into a revolution. You can't vote your way over and over again into change. I've heard today, well, the Democrats have to be in office before they can do things. Really? Cricket, cricket? Where the fuck are they, you ask? Joseph Biden is doing photo ops with Netanyahu and giving him a big old bear hug. Cool. So, that's where we're at. That's where I'm at, personally. And I don't know if y'all said that you were interested in this, but I don't care. Not that I don't care that y'all are interested. I don't care that y'all didn't outright say it when I asked, kind of rhetorically. But I'm going to compile presentations for a future stream about the Tulsa massacre and about the Wilmington massacre. The Wilmington one I learned about most recently is essentially when white working class people and black working class people looked at each other and said, hey, we're kind of in the same fight here against those guys. Points to rich white elite of that time, right? And they formed their own party and tried to essentially overthrow the elite. And they responded by murdering all the black people that were there. So fuck that shit. It's important to learn about that shit. Fuck the people that perpetrated it. Fuck the people that whitewash it. Fuck the people that hide that. Because that is such important history. It is still being carried out today legally by the prison industrial complex and the like. And I'm going to make presentations on this. Listen, y'all, there's nothing more I want to do than to rip a fucking book off of the shelf and do a reading or play a video game, right? But this is simply where my life is heading in this direction right now, talking about this stuff. This is so important to me because it's so interconnected. Everything that we talk about, capitalism, SARS-CoV-2, disability justice, misogyny, misogynoir, racism, oppression, subjugation, colonialism. It's all connected. So this is kind of the vibe that we're dealing with these days. But one thing I need to do is temper my intake of blue wave comments because they're all just starting to sound the fucking same. You know, find new material. You're not changing my mind with showing me a picture of Donald Trump. I'm like, that's not. Yeah, exactly. That's what that was what got me into the booth last time, and look what happened. Like I said last stream, I have less rights now than I did on election day in 2020, right? But yeah, that's been the stream for tonight. I will be back on Wednesday with maybe one of those presentations, spoons permitting, if I can get something together, or if I can find something, especially by a black creator who has compiled something about it, and I'll uplift their voice to the best of my ability. Visit my Linktree hub for SARS-CoV-2 resources. Stand by for important resources on all this shit we covered tonight. Check out Claudia De La Cruz and Karina Garcia. Check out my fucking merch if you want to support a disabled content creator who can't work in public because is disabled and immunocompromised, and in lieu of curling up and dying, I'm trying to make my own way in this world by way of selling merch. And yes, as an anti-capitalist, I am allowed to critique, denounce, and want to dismantle the oppressive system in which I am born into and forced to participate in. And so are you, friend. So yes, thank y'all so much for being here tonight. I always watch these back to read the chats because I know I miss a lot, and I really appreciate the conversations that are forged in these chats always. Y'all, we take good care of each other and hold space for each other. And I love this community so fucking much. Oh my gosh. We're almost at 420 followers, which is incredible. But anyway, I'm gonna get off here and eat a payday bar and punch my butt cheeks back to life because they're both numb. But yeah, I'll be back on Wednesday. Thank you for being here. Bye.
Balls.
The giant horsecock weighs over 11 pounds. The giant horsecock weighs over 11 pounds. The giant horsecock weighs over 11 pounds.
What the fuck is going on in here on this day?